Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. You have a good chance, I accept it. Chapter 1. Qingyan Sect. At this time, the Qingyan sect was buzzing with people, and young people who looked no more than 18 years old lined up in a long queue. Have I traveled through time? Among the team, a young man looked around with a confused face. Suddenly, a torrent of memories poured into his mind, and the next moment, the young man's eyes gradually brightened. Good guy. I actually traveled to the world of cultivating immortals, and I'm just a servant who just joined the Qingyan sect. Yi Lin murmured to himself. In the world of immortality, a strong person can decide the life and death of hundreds of millions of people with a single thought, while the weak can only survive in the cracks. It's a world where the jungle prevails. Here, this is yours, take it. At this time, a middle-aged man in a white robe in front handed Yi Lin a white pill and gave instructions. Yi Lin put away the elixir and nodded, then left the team. Yi Lin, who had gone through the baptism of memory, knew very well that what he was receiving now was the handyman's exclusive elixir, the chi-gathering pill. Although it is not of high grade, it can strengthen the body for ordinary people. In addition to spiritual stones, the levels of all treasures in the world are divided into Huang, Zan, Earth, Heaven, and Immortal. Each major category is divided into low grade, medium grade, and top grade. Taking the elixir, the clothes and tokens he had just been given, Yi Lin walked towards his residence. However, at this time, a big man walked towards him. Yi Lin looked at him curiously and then put his gaze away. However, at this time, the big man walked directly towards him. Have you received the chi-gathering pill? The big man came to Yi Lin and asked with a frown. Looking at the muscular man in front of him, Yi Lin couldn't help but feel a strong sense of oppression. Took it. Yi Lin replied politely. Very good. Hand over the elixir as protection fee for your new entry. The big man stretched out his hand as big as a cattail leaf fan and said to Yi Lin. Hearing this, Yi Lin raised his head and looked directly at the big man. Suddenly, a transparent panel appeared in front of him. Name: Zhang Liang. Cultivation level: 3rd level of Qi training. Fate: White Plane. Numerology: Small luck, shocking sword skills. Destiny: 3 years later, he went down the mountain for training, provoked a large number of sect disciples, and was mercilessly killed. Recent opportunity: while practicing in the back mountain at night, I found a cloth bag under the stone tablet. There were 10 low-grade spiritual stones hidden in the cloth bag. After absorbing the spiritual stones, my cultivation level increased greatly, until I reached the 5th level of Qi training. A little luck. With a little luck, you can always pick something up when you go out. Shocking sword skills. He has a unique understanding of swordsmanship and makes rapid progress in the art of swordsmanship. Looking at the transparent panel in front of him, Yi Lin was shocked. Could this be his golden finger? Yi Lin then lowered his head to look at his toes, and a transparent panel also appeared in front of him. Name: Yi Lin. Cultivation: None. Fate: Black bad luck. Numerology: Bad luck, insight and understanding. Fate: because he refused to accept the Zhang Liang in front of him and vowed not to fight the chi-gathering pill in his hand, he was mercilessly beaten and disabled by Zhang Liang. Recent opportunities: None. Additional bad luck. Bad luck, such as falling when walking, being cheated on getting married. Comprehension to the gods. The understanding is transcendent, and the speed of understanding various exercises is extremely fast. It takes others 3 months to understand the same exercise, but you only need a few days. The horoscope is divided into black, white, green, blue, purple, yellow, red, gold. The level of your destiny is related to your life's destiny. The golden destiny is for those who are favored by heaven. But this combination of bad luck is indeed a bit outrageous. It only took a few seconds to check the panel. At this moment, a handyman disciple also came behind Yi Lin. The handyman disciple who had just received the elixir was walking with a smile. Although he is a handyman disciple, he is pretty good as he has the elixirs. The handyman disciple said with a smile. Hand over the elixir in your hand, the new entry's protection fee. At this time, Zhang Liang in front of Yi Lin directly blocked the path of the handyman disciple in front of him. Why, this is a pill issued by the sect. What's the protection fee? Why didn't I know? The blocked disciple asked Zhang Liang. Upon hearing this, Zhang Liang frowned. Then he went up and grabbed the chi-gathering pill from this disciple's hand, and kicked him in the chest. The disciple was kicked out and his body fell hard to the ground, causing a burst of dust to fly. Why? Just because my fist is bigger than yours. Zhang Liang put away the chi-gathering pill and said coldly. I'm telling you, I'm the eldest son of the Li family in Tianfang City at the foot of the mountain. Li Ziming, you fool, please give me the elixir quickly. Li Ziming, who was lying on the ground, yelled at Zhang Liang with anger on his face. Hearing this, Zhang Liang sneered, stepped forward and stepped on Li Ziming's palm. Hearing a click and accompanied by Li Ziming's scream, Zhang Liang raised his foot and saw that Li Ziming's palm had been stepped on and was bruised and bloody. HMPH, don't forget where this is. Don't use your mortal power to overwhelm me. I tell you, it's useless. After saying that, Zhang Liang walked towards Yi Lin. And yours? Hearing this, Yi Lin reluctantly took out the elixir and handed it to Zhang Liang. Not bad, I guess you still have some sense. Remember, I am the captain of the handyman, and this pill is the protection fee. As long as you stay in Qingyan sect and work as a handyman for 1 day, you have to listen to me, do you understand? Understood. Looking at Zhang Liang in front of him, Yi Lin nodded. Seeing this, Zhang Liang patted Yi Lin on the shoulder and walked forward. Looking at Li Ziming, who was crushed by a foot, Yi Lin felt a little nervous. He had just crossed over and obviously had not adjusted his mentality. But now, he was taught a hard lesson. The world of cultivating immortals is indeed cruel. After that, he ignored Li Ziming's screams and hurried to his residence. Looking at the thatched house in front of him, Yi Lin was slightly speechless, and then slowly opened the door. Suddenly, a cloud of dust came towards him. Putting down the clothes and token in his hand, Yi Lin began to pack up his future hut. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, night fell. At this time, the sky had gradually dimmed. In the sky, the stars were dotted and twinkling, which was very beautiful. Looking at the clean and tidy hut, Yi Lin nodded with satisfaction, and then changed into the clothes he had just issued. Walking in Qingyan sect, you must wear exclusive clothes and tokens, otherwise you will be caught in minutes if you are found. Besides, in Qingyan sect, the lives of menials are not counted at all. If they are caught, they may be gone. Looking at the gradually darkening sky, Yi Lin did not forget the main business. He now wanted to get Zhang Liang's opportunity first. Then he went out and walked towards the back mountain. The reason why he had to go now was because the outer area of Qingyan sect was sparsely populated at this time and it would not attract attention. When he came to the back mountain, he saw that the back mountain was overgrown with weeds and rarely visited. Obviously, it has been abandoned for a long time. The back mountain belongs to the outside of Qingyan sect and no one manages it, so monsters appear from time to time. Ordinary people may be in danger of their lives if they come here. In the back mountain, there is only a broken stone tablet standing. Seeing this, Yi Lin pushed aside the weeds and came to the stone tablet step by step. Then he squatted down slowly, looked left and right, and suddenly, an orange cloth bag came into view. Found it. Looking at the cloth bag in front of him, Yi Lin was happy, and then he picked it up and opened it. He saw that there were 10 shining crystals lying inside. Yi Lin hurriedly took out 10 spirit stones and put them in his chest, and put the cloth bag in place. This cloth bag is a top-grade product, which is impossible for ordinary people to own. If you take it away, once you are discovered later, your life will be in danger. At this time, Yi Lin saw a pile of monster shit next to the stone tablet, which looked like it had just been excreted. The next moment, Yi Lin put the monster shit in the cloth bag, put it back in place, and hurriedly walked towards his residence. The back mountain is too dangerous for ordinary people, so it is better not to stay. Cultivation realm. Qi training, foundation building, golden elixir, yuanying, transformation, unity, tribulation, Mahayana. Just half an hour after Yi Lin left, a strong man walked towards the stone tablet in the back mountain, and this strong man was Zhang Liang. Not bad, not bad, the moon tonight is just right. Looking at the huge full moon in the sky, Zhang Liang nodded with satisfaction. The reason why he practiced in the sparsely populated back mountain was because he found a yellow-grade upper-grade technique on a Chore's disciple who had just entered the sect when he robbed him earlier. The Shenyu Gong, This technique requires spiritual energy and moon energy to practice, and progress is rapid. The yellow grade upper grade technique is a technique that only inner disciples can access. He knows the principle of being guilty of holding a treasure, so every night when it is quiet, he quietly comes to this deserted back mountain to practice. Just as he was about to sit down and practice as usual, he glanced at the corner of his eye and stopped immediately. "What is that?" Zhang Liang muttered, and pushed aside the weeds on the side, and suddenly, a yellow cloth bag appeared in his eyes. Seeing the yellow cloth bag, Zhang Liang was delighted. He could tell at a glance that the bag was exclusive to the inner disciples. It was a thing that represented the identity of the inner disciples. And what was in it was the things of the inner disciples, and none of the things of the inner disciples were simple. Then Zhang Liang happily opened the cloth bag and saw a black thing in it. "What is it? Strange." After saying that, Zhang Liang put his hand in, and suddenly a foul smell came into his mouth and nose. The next moment, Zhang Liang threw away the cloth bag in his hand. Looking at the black and yellow thing in his hand, his face was full of disgust. Bad luck. Zhang Liang used his spiritual energy to drive away the monster shit on his hand, cursed angrily, and then began to sit cross-legged to practice. On the other side, Yi Lin was looking at the spirit stone in his hand and was worried. He forgot that he didn't have any skills, and didn't know how to absorb the spiritual energy in it. Spirit stones are divided into low-grade spirit stones, medium-grade spirit stones, high-grade spirit stones, and top-grade spirit stones. One medium-grade spirit stone is equal to 100 low-grade spirit stones, and so on. Forget it, but I seem to remember that it's written like this in the novel. The next moment, Yi Lin held the spirit stone in his mouth, and suddenly, a trace of spiritual energy flowed into his body, but without the guidance of the skills, the spiritual energy began to enter his body and strengthen every part of his body. Aware of his own changes, Yi Lin was happy, and it was indeed correct. One night passed in a flash. The next day, Yi Lin opened his eyes and looked at the remaining 9 spirit stones, feeling helpless. Without the skills, relying on his instinctive absorption, he only absorbed 1 low-grade spirit stone in one night. But he could feel that his body was strengthened. Name: Yi Lin. Cultivation: Qi Training Level 1. Fate: Black Many Disasters. Numerology: Bad Luck Insight. Destiny: half a month later, he participated in the chores competition, fought with Zhang Liang for the position of chores consul, and was beaten to death by Zhang Liang. Recent opportunities: none. Bad luck, such as falling down when walking, and being cheated on when getting married. Comprehension: superb comprehension, extremely fast comprehension of various techniques. The same technique, it takes 3 months for others to comprehend, but you only need a few days. Looking at his own panel, Yi Lin was delighted. This is the first level of Qi training. However, after seeing his own fate, his heart jumped. There is not much difference between the menial disciples. After all, everyone has incomplete spiritual roots and the same starting line, but for the convenience of management, a big competition will be held half a month after the new disciples enter. And this big competition is once a year, when all menial disciples will participate, and there are many masters of Qi training level 1 and 2. In the end, 10 people came out of the duel. The 9 people are the menial team leaders, and the strongest person is the menial consul. Becoming a menial consul can not only manage all menial disciples, but also obtain a yellow level middle grade martial arts. After all, managing menial disciples is too time consuming. It is better to select the 10 strongest menial disciples and let them manage themselves. That is so, but these positions are not open to new menial disciples. All the old menial disciples are competing for them. Spiritual roots are divided into incomplete spiritual roots, low-grade spiritual roots, medium-grade spiritual roots, high-grade spiritual roots, and top-grade spiritual roots. I have already reached the first level of Qi training. If I exchange a set of skills at the sect and absorb the remaining 9 spirit stones, I can enter the 3rd level of Qi training or higher. But it is not enough. I must take the position of menial consul. Yi Lin murmured. He must participate in the menial competition and take the position of menial consul for the middle grade yellow level martial arts and the freedom of being unmanaged. And his primary goal now is to obtain a set of skills. With the skills, he can maximize the spiritual energy in the spirit stone. Instead of absorbing 10 points of spiritual energy, 8 points of spiritual energy will be scattered, leaving only 2 points to strengthen the body. Get out of here. What time is it? Are you still sleeping? Do you think you are still in your own home? At this time, the wooden door, which was not strong to begin with, was shaken violently by Zhang Liang's slapping, and Zhang Liang's angry curses could be heard from outside the door. Yi Lin immediately packed up everything, put the token in his arms, and opened the wooden door. Come out. Looking at Yi Lin in front of him, Zhang Liang cursed and pulled Yi Lin out. Yi Lin was then taken to an open space by Zhang Liang, and 5 errand disciples were already standing on the open space. Okay, the 5 of you, stand still, and you go in too. Zhang Liang said coldly to Yi Lin, who nodded and stood in the middle of the 5 people. Now, welcome to join my Qingyan sect and become a chores disciple, and now, I will give you the first task. That is, go to the medicinal field to pick herbs, let's go. After Zhang Liang finished speaking, he walked forward, followed by Yi Lin and 6 others. Captain, don't you issue martial arts in the sect? At this time, Yi Lin came to Zhang Liang and asked quietly. Hearing this, Zhang Liang glanced at Yi Lin and then said, Martial arts, it's a good idea. The sect is not your nanny. If you want martial arts, go to the sect's Sutra Pavilion to exchange them yourself. Captain, what do you exchange with? Silver. At this time, another chores disciple came forward and asked. Silver. Humph, the stuff used by ordinary people is useless here. Remember, use points to exchange. Whether it is the skills, martial arts, weapons, or elixirs in the sect, they are all exchanged with points, and points are the rewards issued by the sect for your daily labor. Of course, working for me is your blessing, so there is no point reward. Of course, you can also exchange with treasures, such as spirit stones. As long as 5 low-grade spirit stones, you can exchange for a yellow-level low-grade skills. After Zhang Liang finished speaking, the others were angry, but they did not dare to show it, otherwise they would be beaten again. But spirit stones, they don't have that stuff at all. Hearing this, Yi Lin's eyes lit up. 5 low-grade spirit stones, he has them. Don't be discouraged, do what you should do honestly. After working for 3 years, you can exchange for a skills. Then, everyone came to a huge medicinal field. The spiritual energy in the medicinal field was rolling, and taking a breath made people feel refreshed. Okay, go in, carefully collect these herbs into this frame. Remember, don't destroy the herbs. If you destroy one, you can't afford to pay for it even if you are killed. After Zhang Liang finished speaking, the rest of the people trembled violently. Okay, go. Looking at the hard work of collecting herbs, Zhang Liang looked very satisfied. Originally, the errand disciples did not have to work within half a month after entering the sect, but during this period, various errand captains began to move. They received tasks from the task pavilion, and then the new errand disciples completed them, and they got points for free. After all, who doesn't like free labor? As for who is disobedient, don't worry, no one will be disobedient. Yi Lin, who walked into the medicinal field, was shocked, then his eyes narrowed, and he glanced at Zhang Liang. The next moment, a transparent panel appeared in front of him. Name: Zhang Liang. Cultivation: Qi Training Level 3. Fate: White Incomplete. Numerology: A little luck, shocking swordsmanship. Destiny: half a year later, he followed the outer disciples down the mountain to exorcise demons, but was unexpectedly sucked of his entire body by a Qi Training Level 5 evil demon. Recent opportunities: while strolling in the medicinal field, he found a mutated spiritual fruit at the end of the medicinal field. After swallowing it, he stepped into the 5th level of Qi Training in one fell swoop. A little luck, always able to pick up something when going out. Shocking swordsmanship: has a unique understanding of swordsmanship, and has made rapid progress in the way of swordsmanship. After reading the panel, Yi Lin was stunned. There are spiritual fruits in the medicinal field. And Zhang Liang's fate has also become incomplete, and his fate has also changed. It seems that robbing others of their opportunities can weaken their fate in disguise. Yi Lin murmured in his heart. Looking at Zhang Liang's panel, Yi Lin was puzzled, but he still walked towards the deepest part. There were spiritual fruits in the medicinal field, which was something he could not understand no matter how hard he thought. Moreover, the spiritual fruit that allowed Zhang Liang to surpass the 4th level of qi training and step into the 5th level of qi training in one fell swoop must be at least the middle grade of the yellow grade. And in this medicinal field, only the lower grade of the yellow grade was planted, and the more precious herbs would definitely not be planted outside the gate. Coming to the back, Yi Lin was collecting herbs while looking for the location of the spiritual fruit. Found it. After searching for a few minutes, Yi Lin's face was happy. Looking at the golden fruit in front of him, Yi Lin looked around, and hurriedly dug the spiritual fruit out of the half-covered soil and put it in his chest. Then he began to dig the herbs honestly. Don't let me find you lazy. If you dare to be lazy, I will break your legs. At this time, Zhang Liang walked into the medicinal field, with his hands behind his back, cursing angrily, walking and looking. I don't know if it was a coincidence or something, but Zhang Liang happened to walk towards Yi Lin. After seeing Yi Lin digging herbs diligently, he nodded with satisfaction and continued to walk forward. Why is there a pit here? Zhang Liang squatted down and looked at the earth pit in front of him. There were a certain number of spiritual herbs in this medicinal field. And digging spiritual herbs is not to pull them out directly from the roots, but to cut them off on the surface of the soil, leaving the roots and growing them again next year. Looking at the small earth pit in front of him, Zhang Liang glanced at Yi Lin in the distance with a little murderous intent, and then reached his hand in. The next moment, Zhang Liang seemed to touch something and pulled it out. Spiritual fruit. Looking at the golden spiritual fruit in front of him, Zhang Liang's face was happy. However, this spiritual fruit is much smaller than the one Yi Lin just dug out. Yellow grade low grade spiritual fruit. If I swallow it, it will definitely make my foundation of qi training at the 3rd level deeper. Looking at the spiritual fruit in front of him, Zhang Liang has been blinded by wealth. Because the value of spiritual fruit is very different from that of medicinal herbs need to be refined into pills before they can be swallowed. If they are swallowed directly, they are not very useful. But spiritual fruit is different. It can be swallowed directly, and the increase is huge. My luck is still as good as ever. Looking at the spiritual root in his hand, Zhang Liang murmured, then put the spiritual fruit in his arms, looked around the medicinal field, and began to patrol. And this scene happened to be seen by Yi Lin. I didn't expect it to be a companion spiritual fruit. The one above. Yi Lin murmured, the situation of companion spiritual fruit is rare, because once the companion spiritual fruit appears, there must be only one surviving. Because the other one has been absorbed. Obviously, Zhang Liang's spiritual fruit has been almost absorbed by the one he just dug. Time passed quickly, and in a blink of an eye, it was afternoon. The scorching sun shone on everyone's back, making everyone painful. Everyone is still immortal and has not been exposed to cultivation. It is already very good to be able to persist until now. Okay, let's end here today, go back and rest. Quote, at this time, Zhang Liang shouted angrily. Hearing this, everyone felt relieved. They stood up and put the backpack in front of Zhang Liang. Get out of here. Zhang Liang waved his hand and everyone left. Yi Lin was also not feeling well. He staggered to his residence and headed for his small bed. Suddenly, a sharp pain came over him and he stood up immediately. Take off your clothes carefully. There was a large area of redness and swelling on his back, and he grimaced in pain. Feeling the pain in his back, Yi Lin cursed inwardly. Then Yi Lin looked at the golden spiritual fruit in his hand, and a smile appeared on his face. It was worth it. Yi Lin sat cross-legged on the bed. Without any hesitation, he swallowed the spiritual fruit directly. Suddenly, the spiritual fruit turned into pure spiritual power and began to spread to Yi Lin's body. Comfortable. Quote, feeling himself getting stronger bit by bit, Yi Lin was filled with joy. But the next moment, accompanied by a sharp pain, Yi Lin's face suddenly changed. At the same time, a violent spiritual energy entered his body, and the originally blocked veins were immediately opened by this violent spiritual energy, becoming extremely smooth. The tibia of the whole body was shattered under this violent spiritual power, and then reorganized under the nourishment of the spiritual energy. Gradually, Yi Lin began to be unable to bear the pain, closed his eyes and lay on the bed, and was completely fainted by the pain. At this time, on the surface of Yi Lin's skin, streams of black substances were beginning to flow out through the pores, which looked extremely disgusting. At the same time, on the other side, on a luxurious big bed, Zhang Liang was sitting cross-legged on the bed with joy, looking at the small and exquisite spiritual fruit in his hand. It depends on you whether you can step into the 4th level of qi training. Quote. After saying that, Zhang Liang swallowed it directly, chewed it randomly for a few times, and then swallowed it hard. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. 10 minutes passed. Zhang Liang's face became more and more strange. Why was there no movement? Is it that the grade of this spiritual root is too high, and it takes longer to play? 10 minutes without any movement, which made Zhang Liang a little confused, but the next moment, Zhang Liang's face changed, and he ran towards the toilet with his hands on his stomach. Suddenly, a foul smell spread all around, attracting countless curses. 5 hours later, Zhang Liang's face was pale, his legs trembling, and he stood in the yard with anger on his face. What a rubbish spiritual fruit! Zhang Liang cursed immediately. He had been pooping for 5 hours, and he couldn't stop. Fortunately, he was at the 3rd level of qi training, otherwise he would have been killed directly. Looking at the other side, Yi Lin, who had been unconscious for 5 hours, slowly opened his eyes and raised his arms to cover his eyes habitually, but the next moment, he opened his eyes wide. What happened? Looking at the dark arms and body, coupled with the stench emanating from them from time to time, Yi Lin's face was filled with doubts. Then he lowered his head, and suddenly, a transparent panel appeared in front of him. Name: Yi Lin. Cultivation level: 3rd level of qi training. Fate: black bad luck. Numerology: bad luck, insight and understanding. Destiny: half a month later, he participated in the handyman competition and fought with Zhang Liang for the position of handyman consul. Unexpectedly, Zhang Liang took out the bone powder and attacked him in a surprise attack, and he died since then. Recent opportunities: none. Additional bad luck. Bad luck, such as falling when walking, being cheated on getting married. Comprehension to the gods. The understanding is transcendent, and the speed of understanding various exercises is extremely fast. It takes others 3 months to understand the same exercise, but you only need a few days. 3rd level of qi training. Seeing his own cultivation, Yi Lin clenched his fists excitedly, his face full of joy. He could feel that not only had his strength increased, but his defense had also greatly increased. At the same time, there was a spiritual energy floating in his dantian. The spiritual energy contained in this spiritual fruit was too much for Yi Lin's previous level of qi training. After helping him cut through the meridians and cleanse the marrow, there was still a lot left, and it was currently floating in the dantian. If this spiritual energy is slowly refined, it will be enough to step into the 4th level of qi training. Yi Lin murmured. Later, when he saw his fate, Yi Lin secretly thought that the 3rd level of qi training was still not enough, but this time, he already had the strength to compete with him. However, this time there was obviously a change on the panel. He already had the strength to compete with Zhang Liang, but he was still attacked and killed by Zhang Liang. No, there is still half a month left. Now I have stepped into the 3rd level of qi training. If I exchange another book of exercises, add the help of spiritual stones, and refine the group of spiritual energy, half a month will be enough to step into the 3rd level of qi training. The 5th level of qi. Yi Lin murmured that at the 5th level of qi training, his cultivation had reached the crushing level, which was already enough. Qingyan sect has 5 levels: servant disciples, outer disciples, inner disciples, elders, direct descendants, and sect saints. Among the outer disciples, most are at the 4th or 5th level of qi training. Go take a shower first. At this time, Yi Lin came to his senses, and a stench penetrated his nasal cavity, making him extremely sick. Next day, after getting up from the bed, he looked at the 5 low-grade spiritual stones on the bed and pondered for a while. If I exchange these 5 low-grade spiritual stones for exercises, I will only have 4 low-grade spiritual stones left. If equipped with exercises, the 5th level of qi training will be enough. Yi Lin murmured, then put away the 5 low-grade spiritual stones in front of him and walked towards the door. As soon as Yi Lin walked out of the door, he saw Zhang Liang standing in the distance, with several handyman disciples standing around him. The old-school handyman disciples are all human beings. Even if the handyman captain wants to pluck wool from them, he will have to spend some effort. The new handyman disciples are the best free labor force for these handyman captains, so they will come to order these handyman disciples to do this and that every time. With a glance, Yi Lin ignored it. It seemed that Zhang Liang had come to ask people to work as free labor again. I don't know who will win against Zhang Liang now. Yi Lin murmured. Zhang Liang is at the 3rd level of Qi training, and he is also at the 3rd level of Qi training. Although he will be killed by a sneak attack by Zhang Liang, it is a sneak attack after all. However, he is more likely to lose. After all, Zhang Liang he is a veteran 3rd level Qi practitioner. But the next moment, a transparent panel suddenly appeared in front of Yi Lin's eyes. Name: Zhang Liang. Cultivation level: 3rd level of Qi training. Fate: White disabled. Numerology: mediocre luck, amazing sword skills. Destiny: half a year later, he followed the outer disciples down the mountain to eliminate demons, but was unexpectedly killed by a 5th level Qi training demon that sucked the essence and blood from his body. Recent opportunity: after collecting the last points tonight, I went to the Tibetan scripture pavilion to select exercises. Unintentionally, I found the Xuanji low-grade exercise star technique under the 3rd cabinet. Since then, my strength has greatly increased, and I have overcome the troubles in one fell swoop. He has been training at the 4th level for 10 years. Shocking sword skills. He has a unique understanding of swordsmanship and makes rapid progress in the art of swordsmanship. Mediocre luck. Average luck, slightly higher than ordinary people. Looking at Zhang Liang's opportunities, Yi Lin sighed in his heart. These opportunities come one after another, but what about himself? No hair at all. Fate is indeed a good thing. But when he saw the numerology, Yi Lin's expression changed. What was originally a small amount of luck has turned into mediocre luck. Perhaps this is the only chance Zhang Liang has left. It seems that robbing others of their opportunities is equivalent to robbing others of their luck. Yi Lin murmured. Luck sounds illusory, but it is real. A person's life and death, the rise and fall of dynasties and sects, are all closely related to it. Very good, your opportunity is now mine. Yi Lin secretly thought, and then walked all the way towards the scripture collection pavilion. A low-grade Zon level technique. You must know that Qingyan sect, as the overlord sect with a radius of thousands of miles, only has one Zon level mid-level technique. Arriving at the Sutra Pavilion, Yi Lin looked up at the retro-style attic that was more than 10 meters high in front of him and admired it in his heart. Then he lifted his feet and walked forward. For what? At this time, a person walked out of the door of the Sutra Pavilion. This person was wearing gorgeous clothes and was extremely aloof. Senior brother, let me choose a skill. Hearing this, Zhao Hu was stunned. Wearing the clothes of a handyman disciple, he came to choose the exercises. Is there any mistake? Take out the token and let me see your points. Zhao Hu stretched out his hand toward Yi Lin and said, generally, the points given to handyman disciples for their work are all included in their tokens. Senior brother, I heard that spirit stones can also be redeemed for points, right? At this time, Yi Lin took out 5 low-grade spiritual stones and handed them to Zhao Hu. Seeing the spiritual stones in Yi Lin's hand, Zhao Hu frowned. How could a small handyman disciple have spiritual stones? But he didn't think too much. Even though the new handyman disciples were all mortals, there was no guarantee that some of them had backgrounds behind them. Okay, what's your name? Zhao Hu put away the spirit stone, took out a notebook and looked at Yi Lin and asked. Yi Lin, okay, go in, remember, you only have 1 stick of incense, come out quickly after taking it. After registering, Zhao Hu urged. Thank you, senior brother. Yi Lin nodded, and then stepped into the scripture collection pavilion. After entering the door, the first thing you see is rows of wooden cabinets, with books of exercises on them. These exercises are all Huang level low-grade exercises. As for the more advanced techniques, they were in the Sutra Collection Pavilion of the inner sect, and he was not yet qualified to access them. Yi Lin went straight to the 3rd cabinet, then squatted down and put his hand in for a while, and the next moment, Yi Lin's eyes lit up. Looking at the slightly yellowed book in his hand, Yi Lin's eyes narrowed and he slowly opened the book. What's the tiger kung fu? Something's wrong, Yi Lin murmured. The next moment, Yi Lin put the skill in his hand upright on the ground, and then patted it gently. Sure enough, there was only a crisp sound, and a mezzanine fell out of the book. It's done. Seeing this, Yi Lin felt happy, then put the mezzanine back in place, took the book and walked out the door. Senior brother, the selection is over. Looking at Zhao Hu, who was meditating at the door, Yi Lin said. Well, according to the sect's rules, you only have 1 month to master the exercises. After 1 month, you must return them as they are, and they are not allowed to be passed on to anyone else. Otherwise, not only will you die, but also the people in the place where you originally lived will die, understand? Already. After Zhao Hu finished speaking, Yi Lin nodded, his eyes slightly focused, and then walked out of the scripture deposit pavilion. Name: Zhao Hu. Cultivation level: 5th level of Qi training. Fate: White Plane. Numerology: none, mediocre, no highlights. Destiny: he discovered the secret of the inner sect elder by chance, and was eventually killed by the inner sect elder. Recent opportunities: 4 days later, he stayed at the 5th level of Qi training for a year, and was extremely depressed, so he went to the Bai Bo Lake to relax. When he was about to go swimming in the lake, he found a yellow-grade top-grade long sword at the bottom of the lake. From then on, his combat power increased greatly, and he could fight against the 6th level of Qi training. Yi Lin walked towards his residence while looking at the panel in front of him. Yes, this panel was Zhao Hu's panel. Yellow-grade top-grade long sword. However, if I get a yellow-grade top-grade long sword, my combat power will increase greatly. In the outer sect competition in half a month, I will definitely crush Zhang Liang. Yi Lin murmured, and then came to his residence. After closing the doors and windows, he took out the star skill and began to comprehend it bit by bit. In the blink of an eye, half a day passed, and Yi Lin closed the skills in his hand. After half a day of comprehension, he finally understood it, thanks to his extraordinary understanding. Then he took out the remaining 4 spirit stones and began to practice. The practice time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed by. Not bad. Looking at the spirit stone that was absorbed, Yi Lin exhaled a breath of turbid air. With the help of the practice method, it was indeed twice the result with half the effort. The 10 spiritual energy was absorbed reasonably without wasting a single cent. During the practice, Zhang Liang did not disturb them again. There were at least 8,000 menial disciples who entered Qingyan sect. These menial captains would definitely take turns. If a group of people were caught and beaten to death, it might cause unrest. At that time, they would not get any benefits and would cause a lot of trouble. What's more, they are now preparing for the big competition in half a month, and they have no time to care about others. There is plenty of time in the future as long as they can consolidate their positions. 1 step away from reaching the 4th level of Qi training. Yi Lin's mouth curled up. He had a defective spiritual root and his cultivation speed was extremely slow, but despite this, with the help of spiritual stones, he still made rapid progress. No wonder everyone wanted spiritual stones. They were precious, and there was a reason why they were precious. It's time to get down to business. Yi Lin stood up and patted the dust off his body. He didn't forget the so-called long sword, the yellow-grade upper-grade long sword. Even the inner disciples would be jealous when they saw it. More precious than spiritual herbs, spiritual medicines, and spiritual fruits are magic weapons. Forging a magic weapon, even a yellow-grade lower-grade magic weapon, requires a lot of resources and energy. However, the probability of failure during forging is also greater, so a yellow-grade lower-grade magic weapon can be exchanged for at least 10 yellow-grade lower-grade pills. Yi Lin still didn't know much about Bai Bo Lake, but he only knew that there was only 1 lake in Qingyan sect. Presumably that was Bai Bo Lake. In a flash, Yi Lin came to the front of Bai Bo Lake. Bai Bo Lake, the name sounds beautiful, but it is just a small lake. There are several figures busy around, and a layer of white mist is floating on the lake. Yi Lin put the token on the shore, then dived into the lake, swam to the bottom of the lake, and searched for a long time. Finally, in a corner, a hilt of a sword was exposed. Seeing this, Yi Lin was delighted, and hurriedly grabbed the hilt of the sword, pulled out the whole sword, and came to the shore with the fairy sword. It is worthy of being a yellow-grade top-grade long sword, it is indeed extraordinary. Looking at the trace of cold air emanating from the hilt in front of him, Yi Lin exclaimed. After seeing that there was no one around, Yi Lin disappeared in a flash. He now has the 3rd level of Qi training. As long as he wants, ordinary people can hardly catch his trace. After arriving at his residence, Yi Lin carefully hid the long sword under the bed. This sword is too precious. It is better not to take it out unless it is absolutely necessary. Practice. After saying that, Yi Lin took out the last 3 remaining spirit stones, and then ran the technique with all his strength, and at the same time absorbed the remaining spiritual energy in the dantian, making rapid progress. As time passed bit by bit, in the blink of an eye, 15 days passed. At this time, Yi Lin slowly opened his eyes, exhaled a breath of turbid air, and patted the dust on his body. Name: Yi Lin. Cultivation: 5th level of Qi training. Fate: Black, many disasters. Numerology: insight into the gods' bad luck. Fate: forced to participate in the chores competition tomorrow. In order to compete for the position of chores consul, fight with Zhang Liang, and then kill Zhang Liang forcefully, and then be spotted by Zhao Hu, a subordinate of Zhang Liang's elder brother Zhang Xiao. In order to please Zhang Xiao, they immediately discussed the matter, used drugs to knock the host unconscious tomorrow night, and then locked him in the dungeon. 2 months later, Zhang Xiao came out and killed the host. Recent opportunities: none. Comprehensio: superb comprehension, extremely fast comprehension of various techniques. For the same technique, it takes 3 months for others to comprehend, but you only need a few days. Bad luck. Bad luck, such as falling down when walking, being cheated on when getting married. Looking at his fate, Yi Lin's eyes narrowed. He knew Zhang Xiao's name. He was the number 1 person in the outer sect, and his cultivation had reached the terrifying 7th level of Qi training. If it was a head-on confrontation, he would not be able to beat him, but he could escape. However, the panel showed that he was knocked unconscious by his men with drugs. I must take this position of errand consul. I have to prepare for the aftermath early. Yi Lin murmured. His current identity was just an errand disciple, which was inconvenient for him to do things. Moreover, if the competition tomorrow decided a errand consul and 9 team leaders, he could not think of practicing peacefully. As long as he got the position of errand consul, it would be much more convenient to do things. Not only would he manage the resource allocation of all errand disciples, but he would also not be controlled by anyone. Generally, the tasks are issued by the sect and then handed over to the errand consul. If the errand disciples need to receive the tasks, they must go through the errand consul. The benefits are self-evident. What's more, they can also issue a yellow-level middle-grade martial arts, which is simply a lot of benefits. The next day, the errand residence, which was originally very quiet, began to become a sensation. Countless figures hurriedly ran towards the sect square, because today was the day when the errand competition began. Whether they could enter the Dragon Gate depends on today. In an extremely vast square, there were many figures. In the center, a huge arena was set up. Today is the errand competition. The purpose is to decide an errand consul and 9 team leaders, and these 10 people are the existence of managing all the errand disciples. At this time, at the front of the square, an old figure stood on the steps, and his voice spread throughout the square. This figure was the outer sect elder of Qingyan sect, a strong man of the 9th level of Qi training. The rules of the competition: anyone who wants to participate can go up to the stage, and then fight on their own. In the end, the strongest person and the top 9 will be left. These 10 people will be the ones who manage all the chores. After the elder above finished speaking, he waved his hand, and then the chores disciples below rushed up and went up to the stage one after another, looking at the people around them with vigilance. And none of the new chores disciples went up to the stage. They all knew that the chores competition was, after all, the stage for the veteran chores disciples. They were just here for the show. Yi Lin turned his eyes to the elder in the sky, and after watching for a long time, he didn't see a panel appear. Can't I watch it if my cultivation is too high? Yi Lin murmured, and then walked onto the ring. Yes, if he could check without restraint, he could sneak a peek at the sect master. The stronger the strength, the more terrifying the opportunity he encountered. Okay, the rules of the game: if you fall off the ring, you lose, try not to kill anyone. After the elder finished speaking, Yi Lin frowned. Try not to kill anyone, that is, you can kill people. With the elder's last shout, the disciples on the ring moved instantly, and they all attacked the people around them. The scene suddenly became a mess, and one figure after another fell off the ring. At this moment, whether it was brothers or friends for many years, they all turned against each other and did not hold back at all. Brother, I'm sorry, go down. At this time, a errant disciple next to Yilin finished speaking, raised his fist and smashed it towards Yilin's face. Yilin frowned, waved his hand casually, and the disciple who was in the first level of Qi training was directly knocked off the ring. The whole process was extremely fast. In just a few minutes, there were 11 people left on the field, including himself. The 10 people in front of him were very familiar to Yilin. They were all senior servant disciples. And the veteran handyman captains, including the handyman consuls, have begun to work in the outer sect. Their seniority has been through enough. When the new handyman disciples below saw the people on the stage, they gritted their teeth angrily, but there was nothing they could do. No matter how angry you are, there is nothing they can do. Without strength, you can only swallow your anger and be submissive for the rest of your life. Zhang Liang looked at Yilin in front of him, his expression unchanged. Boy, that's it for today. The seat of the handyman team leader is already full. Get out. At this time, one of them yelled at Yilin, saying that they looked down on Yilin at all. The handyman disciple is just a beast, so what if he persists until the end? He doesn't even have the qualifications to let them take a high look. What I want is the position of the handyman consul, not the handyman squad leader. Hearing this, Yilin snorted coldly, and immediately, spiritual power surged in his right hand. Seeing this, the faces of the others changed greatly, and Zhang Liang's face also changed slightly. Ants don't know how high the sky is. After Yilin finished speaking, not only Zhang Liang, but also the other 9 people laughed angrily. But the next moment, everyone felt their eyes blurred. The disciple who was still laughing at Yilin just now fell heavily to the ground. Yilin then turned around and stared at the other people, then quickly rushed towards one of them. Come together, destroy him and throw him away. At this time, Zhang Liang said coldly. Hearing this, the remaining 8 people came towards Yilin to bully him, but Yilin clenched his hands into fists. In an instant, Yilin's hands turned into afterimages, and his speed could not be captured by the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, 8 people fell off the ring one after another, holding their bodies and wailing. Seeing this, Zhang Liang was shocked. He could so easily defeat 9 first-level Qi practitioners. Could it be that Yilin was already at the 3rd level? At this time, Zhang Liang showed a cruel look on his face. Looking at Yilin's back, a small bottle appeared in his hand and rushed towards Yilin. Die. But the next moment, Yilin seemed to have known it for a long time. He turned around and grabbed Zhang Liang's hand. Sending you on your way. After saying that, all the spiritual energy from Yilin's 5th level of Qi training entered Zhang Liang's body, crushing all the meridians and internal organs of Zhang Liang's body. Practice, 5th level of Qi training. You hide it so deeply. Zhang Liang's eyes widened and he vomited blood. Then he lay on the ring and died. At this time, Yilin squatted down, opened Zhang Liang's hand, and a small white bottle came into view. Yilin put the small bottle into his cuff and turned it into bone powder. As long as it was contaminated, it would immediately turn into a stream of blood, which was extremely domineering. I declare that this competition is over. The 9 team captains can choose the handyman disciples they need to manage at will. As for the handyman consuls, they can go to the outer gate hall to receive a book of yellow level middle grade martial arts. Seeing this, the outer elder waved his sleeves and said, and then walked out of the square. In full view of everyone, the outcome was decided, and even he was helpless. Looking at the 9 handyman team captains lying on the ground, Yilin shook his head. There was no doubt that he was already the handyman consul. Then he walked down the ring, under the envious, admirable, and fearful eyes of all the handyman disciples, walked out of the square. Arriving at the outer hall, Yilin took out his token and handed it to the disciple in front of him. Now that he was the consul of the handymen, it was time to change the tokens of the handyman disciples. At this time, Yilin felt a gaze staring at him, and then turned around to see a young man wearing the clothes of an outer disciple, who immediately lowered his head when he saw Yilin's gaze. Name: Dongfeng. Cultivation level: 5th level of Qi training. Fate: White Plane. Numerology: None, plain and unremarkable. Fate: half a year later, he went down the mountain to slay the demon, and died after being sucked dry of blood by the demon. Opportunity. I will go down the mountain to do a task tomorrow. By chance, I found 3 eggs of the 9th level Chi training monster in Wangjakyun. Then I picked up the eggs and ran away quickly. I came to Qingyan sect and slowly refined them, breaking through the 6th level of Chi training in one fell swoop. Looking at the faceplate of the person in front of him, Yi Lin raised the corners of his mouth. He already knew what this person was here for. He is here to supervise his own people. It seems that this time, the killing of Zhang Liang has caused a lot of fluctuations in the outer sect. After taking a look, Yi Lin turned his head as if nothing had happened. He took the handyman consul's exclusive token, clothes and martial arts skills from the disciple in front of him, and then walked out of the hall. When he arrived at his residence, Yi Lin put down everything, and then looked at the yellow level middle level martial arts in front of him, the 7 killing fist. Turning to the first page, you will see an introduction to boxing techniques. The 7 killing fist has 7 levels in total. Each level you practice can double the power of the previous level. In other words, as long as you practice it to perfection. Yi Lin could definitely kill a master at the 6th level of Chi training with one punch with his 5th level of Chi training. However, the practice of 7 kills fist is also extremely demanding and requires a lot of resources. Just in time, I'll go down the mountain tonight and get the 3 eggs of the 9th level Chi training monster first. The value contained in the 3 eggs of the 9th level Chi training monster is comparable to 10 low-grade spiritual stones. As long as I get the egg of the 9th level Chi training monster and assist in practicing the 7 killing fist, I can definitely reach the 3rd level. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, night fell. Yi Lin took his own handyman console token and looked at certain places. The corners of Yi Lin's mouth raised, then he put on a black suit and walked towards the gate of the sect. Go. Ordinary handyman disciples and handyman squad leaders are not qualified to go down the mountain at will, only handyman consuls can. This is a special position, which is why both the handyman disciple and Captain Zei want to compete for this position. Some handyman disciples may not be able to go down the mountain even once in 3 years. Arriving at the gate, Yi Lin showed his token to the gatekeeper, then walked out of the gate and walked down the mountain. Just as Yi Lin walked out of the mountain, 2 figures flashed past behind him. Are you coming? Yi Lin, who was walking quickly, raised the corners of his mouth. From the moment he walked out of his residence, he had already discovered 2 people squatting behind his house. If you want not to be exposed, you must turn passivity into initiative. Looking at the long sword in his sleeve, Yi Lin sneered. This time he was well prepared. Moreover, he was in a dominant position, and then walked down the mountain. Brother, what do you think this guy is doing coming down the mountain so late? Nanxing looked at Zhao Hu with confusion on his face. They originally wanted to stun Yi Lin with drugs without anyone noticing, and then take the opportunity to tie him up and wait for Zhang Xiao to come out and make a decision. But just as they were preparing everything, Yi Lin actually went down the mountain alone at night, without giving them any time to react. I don't know. Wouldn't it be better if he goes down the mountain now? This way our chances of exposure will be greatly reduced. Zhao Hu sneered and said that it was better to go down the mountain, which greatly reduced their risk of exposure. You know, the Qingyan sect's handyman consul is already considered a medium-sized position. Kidnapping the handyman consul may lead to investigation by the sect. Once discovered by the sect, 3 months of training resources will be gone. But now, he took the initiative to go down the mountain. As for why he disappeared, what does it have to do with them? No, wait. At this moment, Zhao Hu's expression changed. He grabbed Nanxing beside him, and then looked around. What's wrong, senior brother? Nanxing asked Zhao Hu. This road leads to the monster cave at the foot of the mountain. It's so late. Why is he, a little 3rd level Qigong, going to the monster cave? Zhao Hu stood there, looking down the mountain, and then he noticed something was wrong as he followed. This road is exactly the road leading to the monster cave at the bottom of the mountain. If you walk 1,000 meters further, you will reach the monster cave. By then, neither of them will know how they died. Go back. At this time, Zhao Hu looked ugly and said. Looking at Zhao Hu's expression, Nanxing became even more confused. What's wrong, senior brother? You just said something, causing us to lose track of that guy. Nanxing complained to Zhao Hu. Originally, they were following Yi Lin's back, but Zhao Hu's pull just now caused Yi Lin's back to disappear. This kid is a bit clever. We've been discovered. Let's go. Zhao Hu cursed secretly, then turned and walked towards Qingyan sect. A boy with a third level of Qi training already made him suspicious when he went out in the middle of the night, not to mention running straight towards the monster cave at the foot of the mountain. Obviously, Yi Lin had already noticed the two of them following them. I plan to use the monster beast to get rid of the two of them, otherwise, I will go to the monster cave for excitement in the middle of the night. Senior brother, why don't you pursue him? I don't understand. Nanxing followed Zhao Hu with a face full of complaints, and the two disappeared into the night. The disciple hierarchy of Qingyan sect is very strict. If an outer disciple wants to become an inner disciple, he must challenge the inner disciple and defeat the inner disciple before you can become an inner disciple. Zhang Xiao went into seclusion because he wanted to compete for the inner disciples. You must know that half a year later, the secret realm of Qingyan sect will be opened. If you want to enter the secret realm, you must have the identity of an inner disciple. The second point is that when entering the secret realm, each inner disciple can bring up to 3 younger disciples. And the reason why they wasted so much effort was to bet that Zhang Xiao could become an inner disciple after leaving seclusion, and then they tied Yi Lin to Zhang Xiao. At that time, the secret realm will be opened in half a year, and they can follow Zhang Xiao and step into the secret realm. There are countless treasures in the secret realm, and it is a place that all the disciples of Qingyan sect dream of. It can be said that all the ambitious disciples in the entire outer sect are staring at Yi Lin and Zhang Xiao in seclusion without knowing anything about this matter. Now, it is up to them to handle it for Zhang Xiao. Just after the two disappeared, Yi Lin appeared where the two had been. Name: Zhao Hu. Cultivation level: 5th level of Qi training. Fate: White Plane. Numerology: medium luck, martial arts master. Fate: half a year later, he was ordered to go down the mountain to slay the demon, but the demon sucked all the essence and blood from his body and died. A recent opportunity: I went to Crescent Mountain to hide treasures the day after tomorrow. I accidentally fell off a cliff and found a cave at the bottom of the cliff. In the cave, I found the Wangji high-grade earth vein essence. After absorbing it, I stepped into the 6th level of Qi training. Medium luck: your luck is much higher than that of ordinary people. Good luck can often help you avoid danger. Martial arts master: you are always more sensitive to various martial arts than ordinary people, and you can find loopholes in them and improve them. Zhao Hu: he has a very cautious character and is a difficult opponent. Yi Lin stood there and murmured, rather than saying that these two people were following him, it would be better to say that he was following these two people. Just when the two of them stopped moving forward, he hid in the dark and stared at the two of them. Even if he had the help of the fairy sword, he could not say that he would be able to defeat them 100%. But if they are led to the foot of the mountain, then they will die, because the foot of the Qingyan sect is a place where monsters are entrenched all year round. The Qingyan sect is located deep in the mountains, surrounded by monsters, and the Qingyan sect uses one sect to suppress the monsters from all directions, so that the monsters cannot run wild in the world. Even so, if you offend a monster, you will still eat what you deserve, and besides, the monster is not something that outer disciples can resist. But now the two of them are retreating. Although it is a bit regretful, when they are not strong enough, they still have to be cautious. Earth energy: that's a good thing. Earth energy essence is the extremely pure earth energy formed after the earth energy in the ground accumulates over time. Once refined, it can strengthen one's body to a great extent. After stopping for a few minutes, Yi Lin disappeared and walked towards Wangjiakyun. Wangjiakyun is just a small village at the foot of Qingyan Mountain. Because of the existence of Qingyan sect, some surrounding small villages can survive safely in the mountains where monsters are entrenched, and the monsters do not dare to be too presumptuous. The Qingyan sect's fresh blood and food every year come from these small villages. The Qingyan sect gives them shelter, and they provide the Qingyan sect with food and other basic daily necessities. Yi Lin was very fast and arrived at Wangjia village in a short time. At night, everyone is sleeping and resting, and it is extremely quiet. As expected, Yi Lin stood in the entrance of a cave, looking at the 3 eggs lying in the cave, and thought to himself. Generally, low-level monsters will dig their own caves and hide themselves well. Otherwise, once discovered by experienced casual cultivators and Qingyan sect disciples, death would be inevitable. Then Yilin quickly picked up 3 monster eggs as big as fists and took advantage of the night to go deeper into the forest. Instead of taking it up the mountain, it's better to refine it here. Looking at the 3 9th level Qi training monster eggs in front of him, Yilin swallowed all the eggs without hesitation. In an instant, a violent spiritual energy spread within his body. Seeing this, Yilin did not dare to be careless and immediately started to use the star technique to refine it bit by bit. At the same time, the spiritual energy floating in the mountains and fields began to quickly flow into Yilin's body, strengthening his foundation bit by bit. It's time. Yilin suddenly opened his eyes, stood up and started to use the 7 kills fist. He piled all the resources on the 7 kills fist. The level was raised too fast, which could easily cause the foundation to become unstable. Suddenly, there were bursts of loud noises in the originally silent mountains and fields. As time passed by, Yilin's understanding of the 7 killing fist became deeper and deeper. One day and one night passed like this. The next night, Yilin suddenly opened his eyes and punched a tree in front of him that no one could hold. Just hearing a loud bang, the tree trunk was suddenly broken by Yilin's punch, and the whole tree fell into the forest with a bang. Now I'm strong enough to kill someone on the 5th level of Qi training with one punch. Seeing this, Yilin chuckled and said that in one day and one night, he had practiced the 7 killing fist to the 3rd level, which was comparable to divine speed. I don't know what my fate is now. Name: Yilin. Cultivation level: 5th level of Qi training. Fate: black bad luck. Numerology: bad luck, insight and understanding. Destiny: Nangsing and Zhaohu, who noticed something was wrong, knew that you had discovered their actions and had been prepared for it. However, Zhaohu felt that your cultivation was not as simple as it seemed. To be on the safe side, he tested you in the evening and was shocked to find that your strength was far beyond the 3rd level of Qi training. He finally summoned 2 outer disciples to attack you 3 days later, crippled you and locked you up underground. 2 months later, Zhang Xiao came out and killed you. Recent opportunities: none. Bad luck, such as falling down when walking and being cheated on when getting married. Comprehension: superb comprehension, extremely fast in understanding various exercises. For the same exercise, others need 3 months, but you only need a few days. Looking at his own destiny, Yilin's mind was focused. He was indeed an old loach. He found that he had noticed their actions, so he did not take action in a short time. Instead, he tested me, found out my true strength, and then attacked me. What a cautious mind. But in your hearts, I am just a small ant at the 3rd level of Qi training. Testing. Yilin sneered in his heart, and then went to Qingyan sect. After arriving at his residence in the night, Yilin hid the long sword under the bed. It feels bad to be monitored by someone, Yilin said with an ugly face. Since he entered the sect, he felt that there was an eye in the dark watching him all the time. They now judge me to be only at the 3rd level of Qi training, and they don't know anything about the long sword and the 7 killing fist being trained to the 3rd level. If I break through the 6th level of Qi training tonight, I will wait for them to jump into the net one by one with the help of the long sword. Tomorrow night I will go to absorb the essence of the earth veins first, and then I will give you a surprise. After saying that, Yilin sat cross-legged on the bed. He used all the resources in the 3 monster eggs to practice the 7 killing fist, resulting in no change in realm. However, now his realm of the 5th level of Qi training is extremely solid, and he is only 1 step away from entering the 6th level of Qi training. There is a huge gap between the 5th and 3rd levels of Qi training. In this case, he will give them the illusion that he is only at the 3rd level of Qi training. Give them the illusion that he can kill them at will, so that he can always be in a dominant position. At that time, it is still unknown who is the prey and who is the hunter. Yilin held 2 low-grade spirit stones in his hands, and then operated the star power, and his whole body was full of spiritual power. In the blink of an eye, a night passed. The next day, looking at the powder in his hand, Yilin's mouth corners rose. In one night, he stepped into the 6th level of Qi training. Yilin restrained his aura, and outsiders could not see his current cultivation level at all. Then he opened the door and walked out. As soon as he walked out of the door, he saw 9 team leaders rushing towards him. Hello, Consul. After seeing Yi Lin, the 9 team leaders bowed to Yi Lin. Consul, these are 3 yellow-grade lower-grade chi gathering pills, please keep them. Consul, these are 2 lower-grade spirit stones, please keep them. Seeing the 9 team leaders offering their treasures one after another, Yi Lin nodded indifferently, and then put them away one by one. This is what happens when every errand consul takes office. In order to live a more comfortable life, the team leaders will come to make themselves familiar with the errand consul. Seeing Yi Lin accept the treasures he brought, the team leaders' faces were happy. For all the things that mocked Yi Lin the day before yesterday, they have been living in fear for the past 2 days. They are afraid that Yi Lin will kill them. Even if Yi Lin kills them one by one, the sect will not say a word. Because the errand consul is the heaven of the errand disciples. Okay, go down, do what you need to do. After Yi Lin put away the treasure, he waved his hand, and the others bowed and left. Seeing this, Yi Lin returned to his residence. After the investigation just now, there was no one watching around. Then he began to refine the treasures handed over by the errand team leader. According to the panel, he must now surpass Zhang Xiao within 2 months. Otherwise, he will die. The time for cultivation is always extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, a day passes in a flash. As an errand consul, he is almost idle all day, and there is nothing to do at all, because once there is something, it is arranged by the remaining 9 team leaders. Today, I should go to Crescent Mountain to get Zhao Hu's opportunity. Yi Lin was dressed in black. After seeing that no one was following him, he quickly rushed towards Crescent Mountain. Crescent Mountain is located inside the outer gate of Qingyan sect. It is 1,000 meters high. The top peak is almost level with the full moon in the sky when the moon is full, so it is named Crescent Mountain. As it was late at night, there was silence all around. The originally pitch-black night was as bright as day in front of Yi Lin. This was just a small trick in the Qi training period. As long as the spiritual energy was attached to the eyes, no matter how dark the night was, it would be as bright as day. Once the spirit transformation period was broken through, the spiritual consciousness was expanded, and the essence of all things could be seen. After a few minutes of rushing, Yi Lin had successfully arrived on the Crescent Moon Mountain. Looking at the bright moon in front of him, his heart was slightly shocked, and then he looked down at the cliff. He only knew Crescent Moon Mountain, but he had no idea what was on the cliff and what kind of scenery it was. Then Yi Lin grabbed the surrounding rock walls and began to climb down slowly. In the Qi training period, he still couldn't fly, so he could only use this most stupid method. After more than 10 minutes of hard work, Yi Lin finally came to the ground. The surroundings were overgrown with weeds, and only a few wolf howls were heard faintly in the distance. This is it. Looking at a hole in the rock wall in front of him, Yi Lin's eyes lit up. If he guessed correctly, there was the essence of the earth vein inside. The essence of the earth veins is formed through years of accumulation. Each portion is extremely precious. If a mortal takes it, he can prolong his life and become a martial arts master. When absorbed by a cultivator, it can greatly strengthen his body. A cultivator of the first level of Qi training can withstand the attack of a cultivator of the second level of Qi training. Yi Lin raised his foot and walked into the cave. As soon as he entered the cave, he felt a violent force drilling into his body. He could clearly feel that his body was getting stronger bit by bit. This kind of pure natural earth vein essence has an extremely huge effect. Even a cultivator in the foundation building stage would be jealous when he saw it. Seeing this, Yi Lin hurriedly sat cross-legged on the ground and began to operate the star power. In an instant, the earth vein essence in the entire cave seemed to feel an outlet and rushed towards Yi Lin. In an instant, Yi Lin's face flushed. This force was too much. He felt that his body was about to be burst. His bones, which had been strengthened once, were broken again. At the same time, as the earth veins in his body became more and more, his veins were broken, and at the same time, they were regenerating. 3 hours later, the sky outside was gradually brightening, and Yi Lin slowly opened his eyes. His original black clothes had become tattered at this time, but he didn't feel sorry at all. Yi Lin stretched out his palm and clenched it. He felt that his strength had at least tripled. And his own defense power also increased exponentially. Even if he stood still, the cultivators below the third level of Qi training could not do anything to him. I don't know what my fate is now. Cultivation. Chi training level 6. Fate. Black many disasters. Numerology. Bad luck insight. Fate. Nangsing and Zhaohu, who noticed something was wrong, knew that you had discovered their actions and had been prepared, so they tested you tonight and finally found that your strength was far beyond the 3rd level of Chi training. To be on the safe side, they finally summoned 2 outer disciples to launch a sneak attack on you in 3 days. In the end, you killed them despite being seriously injured. Recent opportunities. None. Bad luck, such as falling down when walking, and being cheated on when getting married. Insight. Extraordinary understanding, extremely fast in understanding various exercises. The same exercise book, which takes others 3 months, only takes you a few days. The fate panel seems to be reflecting the future. I have already prepared for it. This time, I have to fight back with serious injuries. There is still time. Since you want to test it tonight, then come on. Yi Lin sneered, then stood up and walked towards the outside. Along the way, one panel after another flashed in front of Yi Lin's eyes. After a period of familiarity, he can now freely control the appearance and disappearance of the panel. However, the disciples who passed by were all menial disciples, and there was no very important opportunity, which also made him lose interest. Menial disciples are still a little bit short. If I can see the panel of the outer disciples, maybe I can find a good opportunity. It just so happens that there are outer disciples in and out of the mission pavilion. Then, Yi Lin turned and walked towards the mission pavilion. The mission pavilion is the place where the sect issues tasks. If you complete the corresponding tasks, you will get corresponding rewards. And this place is also a place where outer disciples often go in and out. The mission pavilion is divided into inner and outer. The inner is where the inner disciples and the direct disciples meet. He is not qualified to go there for the time being. The outer mission pavilion is where outer disciples receive missions. The errand consuls can also receive missions, but the errand disciples are not qualified to enter the mission pavilion. We're here. At this time, Yi Lin looked up and found that there was a small attic in front of him, and disciples in white robes were coming in and out of the attic. Hey, isn't this the errand consul? What's up? What's the matter with you in the mission pavilion? At this time, a man in a white robe next to Yi Lin looked at Yi Lin with a mocking expression. Let me take a look at today's mission, Yi Lin said calmly, and a simple panel appeared in front of him. As long as it was not important to him, he would simplify it, so that it would be easier. Recent opportunities. When he went down the mountain to complete the mission in the afternoon, he encountered a seriously injured 5th level Chi training cultivator in Yingyu Valley. He found that the cultivator was carrying a yellow grade upper grade martial art, the 3 swords of life and death. Then he brutally killed the cultivator and robbed the martial art. After practicing, his combat power increased greatly. Seeing the opportunity of the person in front of him, Yi Lin was overjoyed. He already had a yellow grade top grade long sword, and now he had a sword technique. By then, his combat power would definitely increase greatly. Humph, today's mission is a bit difficult, be careful not to die on the way. Wang Yang taunted, then turned and walked into the mission pavilion. Before Zhang Liang competed for the errand consul, he asked him for help, and waited for Zhang Xiao to come out of seclusion to say a few good words for him, so he helped Zhang Liang in every way, but he didn't expect that Zhang Liang was killed by the kid in front of him. This also made him very disgusted with this kid, and all the hard work he had put in before was in vain. Seeing Wang Yang slowly walking into the mission pavilion in front of him, Yi Lin turned around and left. The panel showed that he met Wang Yang this afternoon. Obviously, Wang Yang went to take over the mission at this time. While completing the mission in the afternoon, he met a seriously injured 5th level Chi training casual cultivator in Yingyu Valley. Taking advantage of the gap between Wang Yang going to take over the mission, he needed to come to Yingyu Valley quickly. The time to seize the opportunity this time was a bit short, so he had to fight quickly and must not be met by Wang Yang. Then Yi Lin turned around and walked down the mountain. Yingyu Valley is a canyon located a few kilometers away from Qingyan sect. In the canyon, there are monsters who are on the 1st and 2nd levels of Qi training. However, these monsters have little value and are extremely difficult to kill, so few people come here. Soon, Yi Lin came to Yingyu Valley. After searching all the way, Yi Lin did not find any seriously injured casual cultivators. Am I here too early? Yi Lin, who was lying in the woods, murmured to himself, looked at the sun in the sky, and then sat cross-legged in a bush. The surrounding vegetation was lush, just enough to hide his traces. After several hours of waiting, Yi Lin suddenly opened his eyes and looked towards the valley. In the valley at this time, I saw a man covered in black robes, covering his chest and limping towards this side, with blood coming out of his mouth from time to time. These people are too crazy. Aren't they just a yellow-level high-grade martial arts? Just wait. When I succeed in my practice, I will kill you all when I get back. But this seems to be Yingyu Valley. If we go further, it will be the location of Qingyan sect. If someone from Qingyan sect discovers it, I will die. Li Cheng looked grim and said that he was an evil cultivator. If he was discovered by a righteous sect like Qingyan sect, which seemed to be sanctimonious on the surface, he would not be able to escape at all. But the next moment, Li Cheng suddenly opened his eyes wide, looked at the sword on his chest, and slowly moved his head back. Why? After saying that, Li Cheng fell heavily to the ground, and his breath disappeared. You and I have no grievances. I wanted to spare your life, but due to evil practices, I couldn't. As Yi Lin spoke, he squatted in front of Li Cheng's body and groped towards his chest. The evil cultivator is an extremely evil cultivator who will do whatever it takes to improve his strength, mostly using the blood and essence of mortals to practice. Since 1,000 years ago, a great evil cultivator in the divine transformation stage slaughtered 3 mortal dynasties and spent tens of millions of lives in order to seek a breakthrough. Since then, all immortal cultivators have become extremely disgusted with evil cultivators. Found it. Looking at a relatively worn book and 5 low-grade spiritual stones in his hand, Yi Lin felt happy, but he did not expect to get an unexpected harvest. After taking the things, Yi Lin put away his sword, walked towards the distance, and quickly left here. After going around in several places, Yi Lin came to a cave, and then he took out the 3 swords of life and death. Since the last time he practiced, he has experienced the horror of the numerology of understanding and connecting with the gods. As long as it is a yellow-level martial arts technique, he only needs to read it before he can get started. It would be impossible for an ordinary person to get started in 2 or 3 months, but he only needed to read it. What a scary secret. After reading all the 3 swords of life and death, Yi Lin murmured, and then burned the secret book. It would not be good if someone discovered this kind of thing. Although he is a handyman consul, Huang-level high-grade martial arts are too precious, so it is better to play it safe, as well. The 3 swords of life and death are divided into 3 levels. The first level is the life sword, the second level is the yin-yang sword, and the third level is the death sword. Moreover, the power of the second level is more than twice that of the first level. When the third sword is released, the power can be increased by nearly 8 times, which is extremely outrageous. However, the cultivation method of the 3 swords of life and death is extremely demanding. The first 2 levels are very easy to practice, but the third level requires enlightenment between life and death. Then Yi Lin picked up the long sword and slowly began to practice in the cave. It was too eye-catching to practice within the Qingyan sect. As time went by, his understanding of this sword technique became deeper and deeper, and the sword moves flashed through his mind like a movie. Cut. Suddenly, Yi Lin's eyes widened angrily, he shouted loudly, and then slashed forward. In an instant, a sword energy appeared, and a crack 1 meter long and 2 centimeters deep appeared on the cave wall. Ha! We've already entered the first floor. Seeing this, Yi Lin was overjoyed and took a deep breath. After several hours of practice, he had already entered the first level of swordsmanship, the stage where one sword is born. If he didn't have martial arts, it would be impossible for him to produce sword energy, because without martial arts, even if he produced it, it would be a ball of scattered energy. But now, with martial arts, he can condense this loose energy and use a sword to hurt people from a distance. Practice really doesn't take into account time. Yi Lin came outside the cave, looked at the full moon and stars in the sky, and sighed in his heart. Then Yi Lin put away his sword and walked towards the mountain gate. When he first stepped into the sect, Yi Lin felt something was wrong. He always felt that there was a pair of eyes staring at him from the dark. Are you coming? Yi Lin curled his lips and then walked towards his residence as if nothing had happened. At this moment, suddenly, a sword shadow flickered in the darkness, heading straight for his left arm. He immediately understood the strength of the person who made the move. At the 5th level of Qi training, if he was really at the 3rd level of Qi training, he would not be able to detect this sword at all, let alone dodge it. Who? Suddenly, Yi Lin yelled and rolled towards the right. Suddenly, there was a stabbing sound and a flash of blood on his left arm. Come here, there's a killer, come here. Yi Lin covered his arm and shouted, while exerting force with his right hand. The blood on his left arm continued to flow out. After several screams from Yi Lin, several figures hurried towards this side soon. The 3rd level of Qi training is indeed a waste. In the dark, Zhao Hu, dressed in black, looked at Yi Lin, who was lying on the ground screaming in the distance, sneered, and then disappeared into the night. Once Yi Lin's true strength is determined, the next step will be easier. Originally, he had some doubts about Yi Lin's strength, but now, his doubts were suddenly dispelled. If Yi Lin is really higher than the 3rd level of Qi training, Yi Lin should have reacted since he took action, instead of waiting for the sword to stab his left arm and then dodge. What's wrong, Consul? What's wrong with you? At this time, several handyman team captains hurried over and helped Yi Lin up. Someone in the sect wants to kill me, let me find out. Yi Lin said to the team captains with anger on his face. After hearing this, the team captains immediately responded. Since someone wants to assassinate the consul, it is unreasonable. I will report to the elders immediately. You guys, search around for me. Seeing the captain of the handyman team separately investigating and pretending to be the same as the dozens of handyman disciples, Yi Lin sneered in his heart and then walked towards his residence. Seeing Yi Lin disappear, the team captains stopped what they were doing. Those who can assassinate Yi Lin must be the outer disciples, but the outer disciples are not something they can provoke. The action just now was just to fool Yi Lin. After a few minutes of investigation, all the handyman disciples returned to their residences and began to sleep peacefully, as if nothing had happened. After Yi Lin came to his residence with his arms crossed, he closed the doors and windows. Originally, after he had become the handyman consul, he could go to the sect to apply for a small attic where the handyman consul would live, but due to time constraints, this matter was put on hold. The person who takes action must be Zhao Hu. Forget it, look at my fate. It should be stable this time. Cultivation. 6th level of Qi training. Fate. Black bad luck. Numerology. Bad luck, insight and understanding. Destiny. After Zhao Hu knew your true cultivation level, tomorrow night and early morning, Zhao Hu and Yunengxing lured you to the back mountain and immediately attacked you. However, they never expected that you were hiding your cultivation level, so you killed them with force. Kill 2 people and get a lot of resources from them. However, this scene happened to be seen by Dongfeng, who was hiding in the dark, and then he quickly reported this to the elders of the outer sect. After the elders of the outer sect found out, they put you in jail. Thinking that you had a great opportunity, you refused to admit it to death, and then the outer sect elders took action to kill you. Recent opportunities. None. Additional bad luck. Bad luck, such as falling when walking, being cheated on getting married. Intelligence and enlightenment. The understanding is transcendent, and it is extremely fast to comprehend various exercises. For the same exercise, it takes others 3 months, but you only need a few days. Dongfeng. Is that the boy who supervised me that day? After reading his fate, Yi Lin sat on the bed and thought about it. Now everyone with ambitions in the entire outer sect wants to kidnap him so that he can show up to Zhongxiao, the #1 person in the outer sect, and win Zhongxiao's favor. Zhao Hu and Nanxing are the only 2 people who are attacking him now, and they will lure him out tomorrow night. In other words, Zhao Hu and Nanxing have been under Dongfeng's attention for a long time, so they can use the mantis to catch the cicada or the oriole behind them. It's wonderful. It seems that we have to pay attention tomorrow night, and kill Dongfeng, who is hiding in the dark, so that we can end everything. Yi Lin said slowly. His true strength must not be exposed until he can deal with Zhongxiao. I can't let my cultivation expose this little mouse. In that case, let me see where you, little mouse, are. After thinking about everything, Yi Lin closed his eyes and began to practice. He wanted to improve his condition to its peak within 1 day and 1 night. Because this time he wanted to kill 3 masters of the 5th level of Qi training. Even though he was already at the 6th level of Qi training, he couldn't be careless and had to kill them all. Anyone who escapes will be met with disaster. In this way, 1 day and 1 night passed by in the blink of an eye. The next night, the originally peaceful wooden door was suddenly violently pushed open. You are the handyman Consul, right? There have been monsters frequently appearing in the back mountain area recently, and now we need your cooperation in the investigation. Let's go. Nanxing said impatiently. To them, the handyman disciples were ants, and the handyman consuls were no exception. At most, they were just bigger ants. Seeing this, Yilin was not angry at all and said calmly. Is that so? Well, monsters in the back mountain area are frequent and pose a threat to my handyman disciples. I will go with you right away. Then Yilin stood up and walked side by side towards the back mountain with Nanxing. Senior brother. At this time, Nanxing nodded towards Zhaohu, who was coming towards him. This is my senior brother. The two of us took on this mission together. Your mission this time is to lead the way for us. Nanxing said slowly towards Yilin. Upon hearing this, Yilin nodded on the surface, but actually sneered inwardly, pretending to be like that. After saying that, Yilin walked in front, Nanxing and Zhaohu followed behind, and the three of them just took advantage of the night and walked towards the back mountain. Nanxing's reason is very appropriate. Monsters appear frequently, and there is nothing better than exploring at night. Gradually, when they arrived at the back mountain, Nanxing and Zhaohu, who had looked calm just now, suddenly changed their faces. Take action. Nanxing's expression turned fierce and he punched Yilin in the back. If this punch is implemented, it can directly destroy Yilin. As if Yilin was prepared, he quickly turned around, grabbed Nanxing's fist, and took half a step back. Is it the 5th level of Qi training? I have the 5th level of strength. Yilin was determined, and then he raised his foot and kicked Nanxing in the chest. Suddenly, Nanxing's whole body fell to the ground in the distance like a kite with its string broken. What? Seeing this scene, Zhaohu was shocked and casually caught Nanxing's full blow with one palm. Even he couldn't do it. And he could kick away Nanxing, who was at the 5th level of Qi training. Could it be that Yilin in front of him already had the strength of the 6th level of Qi training? This couldn't help but make his back feel cold. You hide your cultivation. What a deep scheming. Zhaohu said as he backed away, slowly took out a dagger with his right hand and hid it behind his back, approaching Nanxing. We have no grudges, so why not expose this matter? Hearing this, Yilin sneered and then drew out his sword. Exposed? Do you think it's possible? After saying that, Yilin activated his sword technique and slashed towards Nanxing on the ground with a sword energy. Looking at Zhaohu, he didn't care about Nanxing's life or death at this time. He used a set of strange movements and quickly approached Yilin. He then pulled out his right hand and stabbed Yilin in the chest with a dagger. Yilin seemed to be on guard, dodging Zhaohu's dagger. Seeing this, Zhaohu quickly distanced himself from Yilin. He had just used Huang Jia's low-grade movement skills. Even so, Yilin could easily avoid it. What is your cultivation level? Zhaohu looked at the tragically dead Nanxing in the distance and said to Yilin. Death, life with a sword. Seeing this, Yilin didn't say anything nonsense, and then slashed towards Zhaohu with his sword. You forced me to do this. Seeing this, Zhaohu's expression became fierce, and then he mobilized all his spiritual power and planned to fight to the death. But the next moment, a sword pierced his heart, and he lay straight on the ground, lifeless. He is currently at the 6th level of Qi training, but Zhaohu is at the 5th level of Qi training, and with the help of his martial arts skills, Zhaohu cannot even fight to the death. After dealing with the two of them, Yilin raised his eyes and looked into the distance. How can it be? In the grass in the distance, Dongfang, who was watching the whole process, saw Yilin looking this way and his pupils shrank. How is it possible? He found me. Dongfang was horrified. Zhaohu and Nanxing were on par with him, but now they were easily solved by Yilin. This made his hair stand on end. The next moment, Dongfang's whole body was covered with hair. He saw Yilin rushing towards this direction at high speed. Before he could think about it, he immediately got up and ran towards the sect. But how could he be faster than Yilin? Soon, a sword was pressed against the front of his neck. Yi, senior brother Yi, good evening. Looking at the long sword in front of his neck, Dongfang didn't dare to move. He looked at Yi Lin with his eyes and forced a smile on his face. Senior brother Yi, I promise, I just came to see the moon tonight. I didn't see anything, let alone senior brother Yi. Seeing that Yi Lin was indifferent, Dongfang said immediately. Chapter 11. But the next moment, a flash of blood flashed, and Dongfang covered his neck in disbelief, lying on the ground with his eyes wide open. I always believe that the dead can keep secrets better. Looking at Dongfang's body, Yi Lin wiped his sword. After 2 months in the sect, the only truth he knew was that when killing people, you must not show mercy. Once you show mercy, he will die. Looking at the 3 corpses in front of him, Yi Lin took out the bone powder he had taken from Zhang Liang before and sprinkled it on the corpses. In an instant, the corpse that was lying on the ground turned into a pool of blood after contacting the bone powder, and it disappeared into the ground. After erasing the traces of fighting around, Yi Lin turned and walked towards his residence. Now the fate should have changed a little, right? He believed that the quiet disappearance of Zhao Hu and the other 2 would definitely set off a hurricane in the outer gate, but those who knew about it would definitely think of themselves first. Cultivation. Qi training level 6. Fate. Black many disasters. Numerology. Bad luck insight. Destiny. The disappearance of Zhao Hu and the other 2 caused a storm in the outer sect. Those who attacked you held back and did not attack you again. 1.5 months later, Zhang Xiao came out of retreat. After knowing that you killed Zhang Liang, he did not choose to attack you immediately, but challenged the inner sect disciples. After that, Zhang Xiao defeated the inner sect disciples and successfully became the new inner sect disciple. Then he attacked you and killed you forcefully. Recent opportunities. None. Bad luck, such as falling down when walking, and being cheated on when getting married. Insight. Superb insight, extremely fast in understanding various skills. For the same skill, others need 3 months, but you only need a few days. Looking at his own destiny, Yi Lin touched his chin. Zhang Xiao did not choose to kill him the first time he came out of retreat, but challenged the inner sect disciples first. After becoming an inner sect disciple, you will be protected by the sect. The sect will not punish the inner sect disciples for a dead errand consul. If the errand consul dies, at most he can be replaced, but every inner sect disciple is the backbone of the sect in the future. It must be said that Zhang Xiao's approach is the wisest approach. Now my cultivation level is considered to be among the top ones even if it is placed in the outer sect. If I become an outer sect disciple, I can get 3 soul transforming pills, which will be of great help to my cultivation level. And I can also get the protection of the sect. 3 days later, it will be the time for me to become an outer sect disciple. Yi Lin muttered to himself. Qingyan sect is full of competition. Once you have strength, even if you are an errand disciple, you can be promoted to an inner sect disciple. But for higher levels, it is not just about combat power, but about spiritual roots. For Qingyan sect, errand disciples, including errand consuls, are just chores and will never be on the stage in their lives. But outer sect disciples are different. Not only are spiritual stones and pills distributed every month, but they are also protected by the sect to a certain extent. Time passed quickly, and the next day, the entire outer sect was in an uproar, with countless outer sect disciples heading toward the back mountain. Isn't the back mountain too scary? I still remember that I went to the back mountain to pee yesterday, but I didn't expect that 3 outer sect disciples died in the back mountain last night. I won't go there again, it's too scary. Looking at the discussion of the errand disciples outside the sect, Yi Lin felt a pang in his heart. Qingyan sect, indeed, should not be underestimated. Zhao Hu and the other 2 were killed by him in the back mountain. He did everything very cleanly, but he didn't expect that after one night, Qingyan Ji knew that the 3 had died in the back mountain. Did any noise happen in the back mountain last night? At this time, a white-bearded old man came towards Yi Lin and asked slowly. Elder, I was practicing all the time last night and didn't hear any noise. Yi Lin bowed to the old man in front of him. This old man was the elder of the outer sect of Qingyan sect, a terrifying master with the 9th level of Qi training. Last night, 3 outer disciples died in the back mountain. As a chores consul, the back mountain is your jurisdiction. Don't you really know? A cold light flashed in the elder's eyes, and a momentum pressed towards Yi Lin. Elder, I was practicing quietly last night, I don't know. Yi Lin gritted his teeth to resist this momentum, and said word by word. HMPH, as a chores consul, this matter has something to do with you. The points for the next 3 years will be deducted. Seeing this, the elder snorted coldly, flicked his sleeves and walked towards the back mountain. Looking at the back of the elder in front of him, Yi Lin cursed in his heart. The chores consul has a fixed points reward every month, and this reward is issued by the outer elder hall. Rather than saying it is a punishment, it is better to say that it was all swallowed by this old man. Old man, let's see when you are done. At this time, a panel appeared in front of Yi Lin. Name: Zhang San. Cultivation: Qi training level 9. Fate: White ordinary. Numerology: Master. Destiny: knowing that he had no hope of cultivation and that his time was up, he went down the mountain 6 months later to look for an opportunity to break through the foundation building period. On the way, he encountered an evil demon and was sucked dry of his blood and died. Recent opportunities: tomorrow, I will buy a life-extending elixir in Zaifeng City at the foot of the mountain. At the city gate, I will encounter a stall set up by a small man. In one of the blue boxes, I found a talisman. If I use it with all my strength, I can hit the full force of the 9th level of Qi training. Since then, it has been used as a trump card. Master, I love to marry, but I don't have the ability. I am either fool or on the way to be idiot. I can actually see the elder's opportunity. Looking at the panel in front of him, Yi Lin was delighted. He couldn't watch it last time, but he could watch it this time. It seems that the display of the panel is closely related to one's own strength. If the strength gap is large, it cannot be watched. Will Qingyan sect be invaded by evil demons in half a year? Or what happened? Yi Lin murmured. He had seen the panels of many disciples, and they were all sucked dry by evil demons after half a year. This made him alert. Half a year later, something big happened. Only with strong enough strength can one survive the disaster. Zaifeng City. The talisman for the full strength attack of the 9th level of Qi training. If you get this thing, you can have an extra layer of protection after Zhang Xiao comes out of retreat. The talisman is made by the talisman master, with the fortune of heaven and earth, and specific runes are engraved on it. Once activated, it can burst out a shocking attack. After thinking about it, Yi Lin immediately walked down the mountain. Zaifeng City is a small city closest to Qingyan sect and one of the cities protected by Qingyan sect. Qingyan sect radiates a radius of 10,000 miles, and is a giant within a radius of 10,000 miles. It governs at least 80 cities. Along the way, Yi Lin was carefully avoiding various monsters. There were many monsters around Qingyan sect, and he would die here if he was not careful. Generally, disciples who carry tasks down the mountain will be escorted by elders to go down the mountain safely. If they go down the mountain alone, they must be extremely cautious. There were no dangers along the way. After half a day of trekking, Yi Lin finally walked out of the mountains and headed towards Zaifeng City. What are you doing? At this time, Yi Lin, who was about to enter the city, was stopped by the guards at the city gate. I came to the city to do something. After Yi Lin finished speaking, the soldiers guarding the city looked at Yi Lin suspiciously. Where are you from? Recently, there have been frequent bandits around. What can you use to prove that you are not a bandit? Hearing what the person in front of him said, Yi Lin couldn't help but be a little speechless, and then took out the token of the miscellaneous consul. I am the Qingyan sect's errand consul. I came down the mountain to the city to do some business. Is there any problem? No problem, no problem. Please come in, please come in. After seeing the token in Yi Lin's hand, the attitude of the soldiers guarding the city suddenly changed 180 degrees and they said respectfully. Walking into the city, people were bustling around, and bursts of hawking sounds reached my ears. As soon as he stepped into the city, Yi Lin's eyes had been scanning the surroundings. He was looking for the small stall. The panel showed that the elder was tomorrow, and if he came here at this time, he could not say that he would be 100% sure that he would meet it. At this time, Yi Lin's eyes suddenly lit up, and he saw Xiao Si in front of him, wearing a gray robe, looking around cautiously, and then took out various bottles and cans from his arms and started setting up a stall. Yi Lin stepped forward and stepped forward. Little brother, are you here to hunt for treasures? Don't worry, these things are all brought by me from various ancient ruins. They are all things of ancient immortal cultivators. Listening to Xiaozi bragging in front of him, Yilin didn't pay any attention to him. The ancient ruins are the caves where the ancient immortal cultivators fell. There are various traps in them. Not to mention the Xiaozi in front of them, even the masters at the Golden Core stage would not dare to escape unscathed after entering. And in front of him, Xiaozi was obviously just a mortal. Boss, how do you sell this? Yilin picked up a small blue box and placed it in front of Xiaozi's eyes. This is what I brought out after 9 deaths in the ruins. It contains the elixir that can step into the immortal gate. Since it's an elixir, why don't you open it and swallow it yourself? Yilin said mockingly. After saying that, Stoudemire was obviously a little embarrassed after being exposed. These things cannot be opened. Once opened, they cannot be sold at a good price, just like opening a blind box. However, he knew very well where these things came from. Let alone elixirs, opening them was not a matter of poison. Otherwise, he would still be setting up a nonsense stall. Boss, please give me a price. This small box looks quite exquisite. I'll take it back as a decoration. Since you sincerely want it, little brother, then 5 low-grade spiritual stones. After Xiaozi finished speaking, Yilin looked at him as if he were a fool. It's a shame he dared to ask for 5 low-grade spiritual stones. I'm in a hurry, so I just need a low-grade spiritual stone. After Yilin finished speaking, he threw a low-grade spirit stone to Xiaozi, then walked towards the city and opened the box again. There was a yellow talisman lying inside, with various mysterious patterns flashing on it. Then Yilin put the talisman on his chest. Various panels appeared in front of Yilin's eyes along the way. There are many casual cultivators in the city. Although these casual cultivators are all at the 1st or 2nd level of Qi training, some of them have extremely amazing luck. Yilin just wanted to try his luck. You made a profit, you rich man. Xiaozi looked at the spirit stone in his hand and laughed. He originally wanted to bargain for a price. If he could sell it for a tael of silver, he would make a lot of money. Unexpectedly, the spirit stone exploded. The value of a low-grade spiritual stone far exceeds common things like silver. But how could he know the value of a talisman that could deliver a full blow at the 9th level of Qi training? After walking around, he found nothing particularly eye-catching. Yilin couldn't help but feel a little disappointed, and then walked towards the sect. After arriving at the sect, Yilin walked towards his residence. He was currently pressed for time. Although the talisman made him feel at ease, foreign objects were only foreign objects after all. Practice for 3 days and obtain the status of an outer disciple after 3 days. When Zhang Xiao comes out of seclusion, even if he is defeated, he will not dare to kill me again openly. There are 2 ways to become an outer disciple. The first is to defeat the original outer sect disciples, and the second is to pass the outer sect examination. He couldn't take the first path because the cause of the death of Zhao Hu and the others had not been found out and the storm had not passed. At this time, he suddenly violently defeated the old outer disciple and became the new outer disciple. When the time comes, it will inevitably attract some attention. You can only take the second path, the outer sect examination. Once you pass the outer sect examination, you will be a qualified outer sect disciple, and you will also be rewarded with 3 spiritual transformation pills. What's more, for the outer sect examination, as long as you have the cultivation level of the 4th level of Qi training, it is impossible for one person with the 4th level of Qi training to kill 3 people with the 5th level of Qi training. This also allows you to hide yourself better. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. In 3 days, Yilin successfully practiced the 3 swords of life and death to the 1st level of perfection. Once this sword was released, even the masters of the same 6th level did not dare to take it hard. Next, it's time to pass the external examination. Yilin stood up and walked towards the outer office. When I arrived at the outer office, I saw 2 young disciples lying at the door and sleeping soundly. They are responsible for everything in the office. 2 senior brothers, I'm here to take the external examination. At this time, Yilin cupped his hands and said to the 2 people in front of him. After saying that, one of them lazily opened his eyes. Commander Consul, if you don't go and be your consul, why are you here to join in the fun? One of the disciples sneered. I have admired the outer disciples for a long time, and I came here to try them out today. Yi Lin still lowered his head and said solemnly, "Okay, we will arrange 3 low-grade spiritual stones for you." After the disciple finished speaking, Yi Lin slowly raised his head. "Why haven't I heard that 3 low-grade spiritual stones are required to take the outer sect examination?" Seeing Yi Lin's appearance, one of the disciples frowned and said in an impatient tone, "New rules, otherwise there will be chaos if cats and dogs all come to take part in the external examination, right? Are you there? If not, get out of here and waste our time." At this time, Yi Lin's eyes narrowed, and a panel appeared in front of him. Name: Wushwang. Cultivation: 6th level of Qi training. Fate: White Plane. Numerology: Small luck. Fate: half a year later, he was ordered to go down the mountain to slay the demons. On the way, the demons sucked all the essence and blood out of his body and died. Recent opportunities: feeling that I was about to break through the 7th level of Qi training, I went to the Dark Gold Monster Cave for life and death training 2 days later. After killing 3 5th level Qi training monsters alone, I found a mysterious level in the monster cave. After refining the low-grade spiritual fruit Blood Soul Fruit, the soul is greatly enhanced. A little luck. Good luck can often save you from danger when you encounter a crisis. You can always pick something up while walking on the road. Looking at the unparalleled opportunity in front of him, Yi Lin was shocked. It was actually a treasure that could strengthen the soul. This kind of treasure was rare to find. The soul is the foundation of a person. The soul is powerful and can bring endless benefits, such as enhancing one's understanding. Once an evil cultivator launches a spiritual attack on you, the powerful soul can be directly immune to this attack, which is extremely abnormal. What are you doing standing around? If you don't have a spiritual stone, hurry up and get out of here. It's a waste of my time. Seeing Yi Lin motionless, Wushwang's patience was gradually worn away. He was just a small handyman consul, how could he get so many spiritual stones? These are 3 low-grade spiritual stones. Immediately, Yi Lin took out 3 low-grade spiritual stones and handed them to Wushwang. Seeing this, Wushwang looked overjoyed and quickly put away the spiritual stones. "Very good, good, come with me." Then Yi Lin followed Wushwang and came to an open space. The open space was filled with 3 huge puppets 2 meters high. To become an outer disciple, you have to start at the 4th level of Qi training, which is the lowest level. I think you are at the 4th level of Qi training, so you passed the 1st level. The 2nd level is to defeat 3 puppets at the 4th level of Qi training. Wushwang looked at Yi Lin's spiritual power fluctuations belonging to the 4th level of Qi training, nodded secretly, and then said, "Okay, the assessment begins." After Wushwang finished speaking, he pressed towards the pillar on the side. Suddenly, the 3 2-meter-high puppets in the open space started to move. The 3 puppets made a rumbling sound and walked towards Yi Lin. With every step, the ground was shaking slightly. Yi Lin's eyes narrowed slightly, and he moved all his spiritual energy to his right hand. Suddenly, veins on his whole arm bulged. 7 killing fist. Yi Lin roared, and immediately punched the puppet in the chest. There was a loud bang. The puppet, which originally seemed indestructible, was punched through the chest by Yi Lin and stopped in place without moving. 7 killing fist 2nd level. To be able to practice 7 killing fist to the 2nd level in such a short time, the comprehension is good. One punch destroyed the test puppet. Even if it is the 5th level of Qi training, there is no guarantee that it can be done. This kid, so strong. In the distance, he was slightly shocked when he watched this scene with his arms folded, and murmured. He had heard of Yi Lin before. He was able to kill the brother of Zhang Xiao, the first person in the outer sect, in public, which was considered to be quite courageous. But now seeing this person is not only a bit courageous. There were 2 more loud noises, and the other 2 puppets were also destroyed by Yi Lin. He suppressed his own cultivation to the 4th level of Qi training, and then launched a full-strength attack. The result was surprisingly good. If he used the power of the 6th level of Qi training and the 3rd level of the 7 killing fist to launch a full-strength attack, he should be able to force the 7th level of Qi training. Yi Lin thought in his heart, "Brother, I don't need to pay for this, right?" Yi Lin bowed to Wushwang and said respectfully, "No, it's useless, come with me, and get your token." After speaking, Wushwang walked in front, and Yi Lin followed behind. "Here, now you are an outer disciple, this is your token, and this is the reward you got for passing the outer assessment, 2 huling pills. At this time, Wushwang put 2 round white pills in front of Yi Lin. Seeing this, Yi Lin looked up at Wushwang. Then he lowered his head to take the pills and token. Seeing this, Wushwang nodded with satisfaction, very reasonable. Brother, I'll go first. After Yi Lin finished speaking, Wushwang nodded, and then Yi Lin walked out the door. This kid is good, very good, but he won't live long. Looking at Yi Lin's back, Wushwang sighed. After arriving at his previous residence, Yi Lin took out 2 huling pills and began to swallow them to practice. In an instant, a stream of spiritual energy began to flow through Yi Lin's body, strengthening his tibia. The Qi training period is a process of constantly strengthening oneself, and the 1st to 5th levels of Qi training are constantly baptizing oneself. From the 5th to the 9th level of Qi training, a small amount of spiritual energy can be stored in the dantian, and some small spells can be performed. Huling pills are yellow-grade lower-grade pills, which contain extremely rich spiritual energy. When Yi Lin finished refining all the huling pills, the sky outside was gradually dusking. Are you Yi Lin, an outer disciple who just passed the assessment today? At this time, a young man in a white robe held a folding fan in his hand and stared at Yi Lin. I am, I don't know who you are. Looking at the young man in front of him, Yi Lin frowned and said, I am an outer disciple, Huang Shang. I came here for only one purpose, which is to join us. After Huang Shang finished speaking, Yi Lin was surprised. Join you? What do you mean? I know you are living in fear all day long, but you are very smart. Becoming an outer disciple will get the protection of the sect. But, do you know that Zhang Xiao will come out soon? At that time, even if you are an outer disciple, you can't escape Zhang Xiao's assassination. Join us, we have senior brother Li who is at the 7th level of Qi training. When the time comes, senior brother Li will come forward and block this disaster for you. Huang Shang said to himself, the outer disciples are divided into 3 forces, Dragon, Tiger, and Kirin. And every time there is a new outer disciple, they will get the news first, so as to win over the new outer disciples. Because the outer disciples cannot be cultivated vigorously by the sect, and the outer disciples will also face the outer sect assessment every month, and the only criterion for the assessment is points. Points are rewards for completing various tasks. If you don't have enough points, you will be kicked out of the outer sect. The resources of the outer sect are scarce, so they can only fight for them by themselves, either going into the mountains together to kill monsters, or completing tasks together to earn points. It can be said that if you enter the outer sect and don't enter one of the 3 forces, the chance of passing the assessment once a month is almost 0. Because small tasks have few points, it is difficult to complete large tasks alone. Unless you don't practice for a day and take small tasks every day to get points, but this is unrealistic. So gradually, the outer sect disciples began to tacitly select 3 disciples of the 7th level of Qi training to become the bosses, and each boss has a considerable force under his command. Just today, he heard that Yi Lin suddenly passed the assessment and became an outer sect disciple, and it is said that his strength can reach the 5th level of Qi training, so he rushed here without stopping. What value do I have that is worth you offending Zhang Xiao, the first person in the outer sect, to win me over? Yi Lin did not answer immediately, but asked back. First, senior brother Li and Zhang Xiao are sworn enemies, and senior brother Li wants to take this opportunity to discuss Zhang Xiao. Second, because of your strength, you have won senior brother Li's attention, that's all. After Huang Shang finished speaking, Yi Lin immediately said, sorry, I'm not interested. After Yi Lin finished speaking, Huang Shang cast a strange look at Yi Lin. Okay, in that case, then goodbye, I hope I can wait for your good news after Zhang Xiao comes out of seclusion. Huang Shang's face was full of sarcasm. If you are useless when I give you a chance, then you can just wait for death. After saying that, Huang Shang turned and left. Name, Huang Shang. Cultivation, 6th level of Qi training. Fate, by something. Numerology, extraordinary intelligence. Fate, challenged the inner disciples 5 years later, but failed in the end and was brutally killed by the inner disciples. Recent opportunities. Half a month later, a 5th level Qi training monster python appeared in Wangjia village. Huang Shang was ordered to go down the mountain to kill the python, and then found a Zon level lower grade space ring in the python's abdomen. Extraordinary intelligence. Your wisdom has been different from ordinary people since childhood. You can always respond calmly to the crisis that is about to happen to you, and thus find a way to deal with it and turn danger into safety. Looking at Huang Shang's panel, Yi Lin was slightly surprised. Zong level lower grade space ring. This is a great thing. There is an independent space in the space ring, which can store items. Even if it is Huang level lower grade, there is no such thing in Qingyan sect, let alone Zong level lower grade. If a low-grade space ring of the Zon class were to fall into the mortal world, it would most likely attract a Yuanying stage master to snatch it, which shows how precious it is. Yes, your opportunity is mine. Then Yi Lin walked down the mountain. He did not forget the opportunity of Wushuang. The treasure that strengthens the soul is hard to come by. The dark gold monster cave is located deep in the mountains. If you are unlucky, you are likely to encounter a monster of the 7th or 8th level of Qi training. So Yi Lin was very cautious along the way. He usually took 2 steps to observe the surroundings. He did not want to lose his life for an opportunity. Is this the dark gold monster cave? According to the panel, there are 3 5th level Qi training monsters entrenched in it. Let's observe first. Yi Lin approached slowly with a long sword in his hand. In order to be 100% sure, he specially took the long sword. With the help of the long sword, his combat power can be increased by at least 30%. When he came to the outside of the cave, Yi Lin looked up and looked inside. Sure enough, there were 2 majestic tiger-shaped monsters entrenched in it. 2. Where's the other one? Just when Yi Lin was confused, his whole body suddenly froze, and then he slowly turned his head to look behind him. I saw a giant tiger demon 5 meters long staring at me from behind. Its 10-centimeter long fangs sparkled in the sunlight, which made me shudder. Sword of life and death, 1 sword to life. Although Yi Lin was shocked, he was not panicked at all. He immediately drew out the long sword from his sleeve and slashed at the giant tiger in front of him. Suddenly, a sword energy flashed, and half of the tiger's head was chopped off by Yi Lin's sword. The whole body fell to the ground, splashing a cloud of dust. Watching the giant tiger fall, Yi Lin took a deep breath. He was scared when he turned his head just now, but since he had strength, his state of mind has also greatly improved. If it were an ordinary person, he would have lost his attack power long ago. Roar! At this time, there were bursts of noises in the dark gold monster cave in front of him. It turned out that Yi Lin had just killed the giant tiger and was noticed by the 2 giant tigers in the cave. With the ground shaking slightly, the heads of the 2 giant tigers poked out of the cave. 1 sword, kill. At this time, Yi Lin suddenly jumped down from the top of the cave, and slashed at one of the giant tigers with a sword, and the sword energy directly penetrated the body of the giant tiger. 7 killing fists, kill. Yi Lin clenched his left fist and punched at another giant tiger. The blood-red mist was wrapped around his left arm, which looked extremely terrifying. The next moment, before the giant tiger could react, its huge head was blown up by Yi Lin's punch, and blood splashed on the ground around. The 5th level Qi training beast can't give me any pressure at all. With my current strength, even if 3 6th level Qi training monsters come, I can still fight them evenly. After solving everything, Yi Lin said in his heart. These 3 5th level Qi training beasts combined, even a 6th level Qi training disciple without martial arts and weapons can easily kill them, not to mention that he not only has 2 sets of martial arts, but also has a Zon level lower grade technique and a Huang level upper grade long sword. Although the monsters are strong, humans of the same level are in danger when facing monsters. However, with the absolute suppression of cultivation, humans can easily kill low-level monsters. There are cross-level battles, but not everyone can fight across levels, otherwise, the realm would have been a decoration. Then Yi Lin put away his sword and walked into the cave. Walking into the cave is very deep. Yi Lin came to a conclusion along the way. The cave is dark and damp, and the ventilation is very good. Although it is a monster, it has the same special habits as ordinary tigers. When he came to the deepest part of the cave, Yi Lin's eyes lit up. I saw bursts of blue light on the cliff at the top. Climbing up, suddenly, a small tree emitting a blue halo appeared in front of me. And on the small tree, there was a small fruit hanging. Blood soul fruit. But the one that can produce blood soul fruit, can't it be the blood soul tree? Looking at the sapling in front of him, Yilin was shocked. The blood soul fruit is naturally precious, but the blood soul tree is many times more precious than the blood soul fruit. The one that can bear the blood soul fruit is undoubtedly the blood soul tree. The one that can bear apples is the apple tree. Based on this conclusion, Yilin quickly judged. Then he stretched out his hand to grab the blood soul tree, but the next moment, Yilin's hand paused. No, the panel shows that Wushwang only got the blood soul fruit, but not the blood soul tree. It doesn't make sense. He shouldn't be unaware of the value of the blood soul tree, right? Yilin stopped his movements and then searched around the sapling. Acquired Shiren. At this time, Yilin looked at the soil in his hand that was emitting a faint light and exclaimed. This search was incredible. He actually found the acquired Shiren. Shiren is a special soil. Any spiritual fruit or spiritual medicine of the heavenly grade can only survive on Shiren. And this kind of Shiren is extremely rare. Shiren is divided into acquired Shiren and innate Shiren. On the acquired Shiren, no matter what spiritual fruit or spiritual medicine is planted, the maturity speed is 10 times the normal maturity speed. The Shantian Shiren is the Shiren that breeds the immortal spiritual fruit. So that's it. Wushwang must have discovered the blood soul tree at that time, but the blood soul tree depends on Shiren to survive. He must have been blinded by the benefits at that time, and then hurriedly pulled it out and planted it in ordinary soil. Without the nourishment of Shiren, the blood soul tree will definitely wither quickly. Just like fish, there are freshwater fish and sea fish. If you put sea fish in fresh water, they will die within a few hours. Although they are all water, their essences are different. Fortunately, then Yilin carefully collected the Shiren, wrapped the blood soul tree with Shiren, and slowly pulled it out. Sure enough, the pulled-out blood soul tree did not move at all and survived safely. Seeing this, Yilin was overjoyed. A tree that can breed the lower-grade spiritual fruit of the Zon level must at least start from the upper-grade Zon level. Not to mention the inestimable Shiren. After that, Yilin saw that there was no one around, and hurriedly carried Zerang into Qingyan sect, all the way to his residence. On the way, he protected the blood soul tree against his chest, and with his extremely fast speed, he did not attract the attention of others. After arriving at his residence, Yilin found a small porcelain jar, carefully placed the blood soul tree in it, and slightly compacted the Zerang with his hands. Then he pulled out the only blood soul fruit and put the blood soul tree under the bed to protect it. This is where the chores live, and I am now an outer disciple. I believe that no one will break into my residence without permission. After doing everything, Yilin swallowed the blood soul fruit in his hand without hesitation. In an instant, Yilin felt his brain clear up. As if he had taken some kind of stimulant drug. I can actually feel that my soul is being strengthened little by little. The Zon level spiritual fruit is so powerful. He felt as if he was wrapped in the sun, and his whole body was extremely warm. This was the first time he felt so relaxed. Relaxed and comfortable. Half a day later, Yilin opened his eyes. The blood soul fruit had been completely refined. He now felt that his soul was extremely powerful. Now recalling the scenes of the previous wars, Yilin could instantly find out the shortcomings and improve them. If it took 10 moves for him to defeat a 6th level Qi training master half a day ago, now it only takes 3 moves. Because as soon as the opponent made a move, he could simulate several sets of counter moves in his brain. No wonder in novels, even if masters suppress their cultivation, they can easily kill dozens of players of the same level. Their cultivation is indeed suppressed, but their souls are not. Since the moment you made a move, they have already defeated you hundreds or even thousands of times in their minds. How can you fight? After feeling the benefits of a powerful soul, Yilin sighed in his heart. Now there is still 1.5 months before Zhang Xiao comes out of retreat. I still have 5 low-grade spirit stones in my hand. I will try to refine them all within half a month. Half a month later, there will be Huang Shang's opportunity. At that time, after completing 2 tasks and passing the assessment, I will continue to retreat and strive to break through to the 7th level of Qi training after Zhang Xiao comes out of retreat. By then, I will not be afraid of Zhang Xiao. Yilin thought to himself that Zhang Xiao was at the 7th level of Qi training before retreating, and then announced the retreat in a high-profile manner. From the beginning to the end, it was only 3 months. In 3 months, Zhang Xiao would be at most at the 8th level of Qi training from the 7th level of Qi training. As for the 9th level of Qi training, don't even think about it. Looking at the spirit stone in his hand, Yilin closed his eyes and began to practice. Streams of pure spiritual energy flowed into his body, strengthening every part of his body. The time of practice is always boring. In a blink of an eye, 15 days passed quickly. The later the strength is, the harder it is to improve. After practicing for half a month and consuming 5 low-grade spirit stones, I still can't break through the 7th level of Qi training. Looking at the spirit stone powder in his hands, Yilin muttered to himself. After absorbing 5 low-grade spirit stones for half a month, the 7th level of Qi training is still far away. No wonder some outer disciples have been in the outer sect for 10 years, but their strength has not improved at all. Low spiritual roots, no resources, and low-grade skills. These 3 points have already doomed your life. Fortunately, I have a life panel. If there are no resources, I can rob. After speaking, Yilin stood up and patted the dust on his body. It's time to plunder Huangshang's opportunity. Huangshang must have received the task of killing the demon snake through the task pavilion. The panel shows that it will be half a month later. And I happen to be in seclusion for 14 days. In this case, I will go to the task pavilion today to accept the task. On the one hand, I can kill the demon beast, and on the other hand, I can complete the outer sect assessment in half a month. After thinking about everything, Yilin came to the task pavilion. There was only a small cabinet in the task pavilion, and a young monk stood behind the small cabinet. Brother, what is the task today? Yilin stepped forward and asked. There will be new tasks updated every day, issued by disciples, elders, and sects. Relatively speaking, the rewards for completing tasks issued by disciples and elders are real and are paid with spirit stones. The tasks issued by the sect are all paid with points, but the tasks issued by the sect are relatively safe, because all information will be marked by the sect. Oh, are you the new outer sect disciple who was promoted half a month ago? Huang Xiao looked up at Yilin and said with surprise. Yes, but senior brother, what new tasks are there today? Today there is a very interesting task. A demon snake of the 5th level of Qi training appears in Wangjia village. If you kill the demon snake, you will be rewarded with 300 points. I wonder if you dare to accept it. Huang Xiao sneered. This task was just released. He originally wanted to keep it for his brother Huang Shang, but the person in front of him is now a big celebrity in the entire outer sect. As far as he knows, Yilin is only at the 5th level of Qi training. He dared to refuse his brother's invitation. It was simply nonsense. Oh, in this case, I accept it. After Huang Xiao finished speaking, Yilin's eyes lit up and he said immediately. In this case, then go. Remember, you only have 3 days, and you must bring the demon snake's head to me before you can be considered to have completed the task. Seeing Yilin so courageous, Huang Xiao's tone was filled with an inexplicable charm. Okay. After speaking, Yilin walked out of the task pavilion, and at the same time, a panel appeared in front of his eyes. Name: Huang Xiao. Cultivation: Qi training level 6. Fate: White. Numerology: Heavenly Evil Star. Destiny: after 4 months, he was ordered to go down the mountain to eliminate demons, but was sucked dry by the evil demon and died. Recent opportunities: feeling boring, he went down the mountain the next day to Tianfeng City to seek excitement. By chance, he met a beggar at the door of Fenghua Tower, and then gave the beggar a steamed bun. In return, the beggar took out a foundation building period demon pill. Huang Xiao then absorbed the demon pill and broke through the 7th level of Qi training in one fell swoop. Heavenly Evil Star: the closer someone is to you, the more unlucky you are. People with this fate are destined to be lonely all their lives. Wow, a demon pill of a demon beast in the foundation building period. Looking at Huang Xiao's opportunity, Yilin was extremely shocked. The demon pill is the essence of the whole body of the demon beast. Once the demon beast is killed by a human cultivator, it will self-destruct the demon pill before death. A complete demon pill is inestimable in value. Foundation building demon pill: after refining, there is hope for Qi training level 7. Only demon beasts at the foundation building stage or higher can condense demon pills. Yilin sighed in his heart, and then walked towards Wangjia village. After completing the task in Wangjia village, he would go to Tianfeng City and squat with the old beggar. HMPH, overestimating your ability. Looking at Yi Lin's back as he hurried away, Huang Xiao sneered. Qi training level 5 demon beasts are not so easy to kill. What he didn't know was that for him, it was just a simple task to kill a Qi training level 5 demon beast, but for Huang Xiao, he missed a shocking opportunity. When he came to Wangjia village, Yi Lin found that there were several people with sad faces at the entrance of the village, and a large group of villagers around him were full of panic. Look, someone is coming, wearing a white robe. Is it the immortal master of Qingyan sect? At this time, a villager yelled, and the others looked at Yi Lin, who was rushing over. For the villagers who have lived in the secular world all their lives, even if he is a cultivator at the first level of Qi training, in their eyes, he is an immortal master who must not be offended. May I ask if the immortal master is from Qingyan sect? At this time, an old man who seemed to be very prestigious asked Yi Lin. Yes, I am here to kill the demon snake. Please tell me the location of the demon snake. Yi Lin nodded to the old man in front of him and said. Okay, immortal master, the demon snake is entrenched in the back mountain of our village. I beg you to help us get rid of this evil spirit in Wangjia village. The old man was about to kneel down to Yi Lin, but the next moment, he was firmly caught by Yi Lin. Why is this? Killing monsters is the duty of our generation of cultivators. We must never do it. After Yi Lin finished speaking, he dodged and rushed towards the back mountain. Wow, it's so big. When he arrived at the back mountain, Yi Lin was shocked. He saw a huge python that was more than 10 meters long and nearly 2 meters wide, like a mountain, entrenched in the back mountain. However, the visual impact made him instinctively afraid. No, this monster can actually affect my mind. Yi Lin, who had reacted, immediately stabilized his mind. He was actually afraid of a monster of the 5th level of Qi training just now. He was afraid before the battle. This was a taboo. Hiss, hiss, hiss. At this time, the sleeping monster snake seemed to have discovered Yi Lin. It opened its eyes, stared at Yi Lin with a pair of snake eyes, and spit out scarlet cores from its mouth. One sword lives. Seeing this, Yi Lin did not hesitate at all. He drew out the long sword in his sleeve and slashed at the giant snake in front of him. Suddenly, a sword energy flashed, and a blood flower was wiped on the giant snake. The giant snake's scales couldn't stop Yi Lin's martial arts at all, and a blood-red wound appeared on its head. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The giant snake seemed to be angered by Yi Lin's sword, and its huge body began to move, and its tail slashed towards Yi Lin. It's not dead. Yi Lin was surprised. You know, both were at the 5th level of Qi training, and the demon tiger was killed by one sword. I didn't expect that the demon snake in front of him could only withstand his sword and suffered some minor injuries. In that case, I will blow you up. Seeing this, blood rolled all over his body, and then he inserted the long sword to the side to avoid the giant snake's tail. 7 Killing Fist, kill. Yi Lin roared, using all his spiritual power, and blood on his right hand was bleeding scarlet blood. He practiced the 7 Killing Fist to the 3rd level, and the full-strength attack was twice as powerful as the sword. Boom! Yi Lin punched the giant snake's head, and with a loud bang, the huge snake head was directly smashed into the ground by Yi Lin's punch. The whole ground was shaking slightly. Looking at the snake head that was smashed into the ground by his punch, Yi Lin jumped up and came to the open space in front of him. At this time, the huge snake body was twisting slightly, and the surrounding trees collapsed one after another. One sword makes life, cuts. Yi Lin roared angrily, pulled out the long sword on the ground, jumped high, and then inserted the sword directly into the giant snake's eye. The sword energy directly destroyed the giant snake's mind. The huge body of the giant snake fell to the ground, motionless. This giant snake is enough to kill the 3 tiger monsters I killed earlier. Looking at the body of the giant snake, Yi Lin murmured, and then with one sword strike after another, he split the entire body of the giant snake into 2. Found it. At this time, Yi Lin's eyes lit up. He found a space ring in the belly of the giant snake. If it weren't for the weak spiritual energy fluctuations on the space ring, it would still be very troublesome to find a ring in such a huge snake body. A low-grade Zon-level space ring will make a lot of money. Looking at the ring in his hand, Yi Lin felt happy. Then, as in the novel, he touched the sword with his left index finger, and immediately, a drop of blood dripped onto the ring. Suddenly, Yi Lin felt that he had established a vague connection with the ring in his hand. What a big space. Yi Lin's soul probed into the space ring and immediately exclaimed. The space in the ring is about 10 meters long, wide and high, and can accommodate countless items. Then he put the long sword into it. After everything was done, Yi Lin turned around. At some point, the villagers gathered around Yi Lin. Thank you, Master Immortal. Thank you, Master Immortal. At this time, the villagers in Wangjia village knelt down towards Yi Lin. Since a giant python appeared in their village 3 days ago, children have disappeared every day, leaving them in constant fear. Facing the monster, they could do nothing but report it to Qingyan sect in a hurry. Mortals are so helpless sometimes. They have no strength and can only wait to die. No need to thank you. I'm going out for a trip. Please help me keep an eye on this snake's head. As for the snake's body, you can eat it to keep fit. After Yi Lin finished speaking, the old man standing in front immediately patted his chest and promised. Master Immortal, please rest assured, we will take turns guarding this snakehead. Okay, in that case, I'll leave first. Seeing this, Yi Lin nodded and walked towards Tianfang City. Monster meat is also of great benefit to cultivators, but it is useless for him to eat monster meat at the 5th level of Qi training. Hurrying along the way, with the 6th level of Qi training, as long as you don't go deep into the mountain and be careful around the outside, nothing will happen at all. In the blink of an eye, Yi Lin had arrived in Tianfang City. Master Immortal, do you have a mission when you come to Tianfang City this time? Since Yi Lin had been here last time, the soldiers guarding the city gate had already had his appearance deeply etched into their minds. After all, cultivators are no different from mortals to mortals, and they never dare to offend. Well, I came to the city to buy some things this time. Okay, Master Immortal, please come in. The soldiers guarding the city immediately said respectfully. By the way, do you know where Fenghua Tower is in Tianfang City? At this time, Yi Lin suddenly asked. This question was even difficult for the soldiers guarding the city to answer. The guarding soldier glanced at Yi Lin thoughtfully and then said. Enter the city and walk straight ahead. You will see that the Fenghua Tower is in the center of the city. When you get there, the Immortal Master will naturally know. After listening to what the defenders said, Yi Lin nodded and then walked into the city. Tisk, 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 cultivators are still bound by the vulgarity. They come all the way just to have a good night in Fenghua Tower. Looking at Yi Lin's back, the soldier guarding the city said meaningfully. Following the instructions of the soldiers guarding the city, Yi Lin walked all the way forward. Tianfang City, with about 100,000 people living in it, is a small city and an important source of foundation for Qingyan sect. Found it, but where is the beggar? Yi Lin stood in front of a flower building. At the door were several gorgeous women looking for customers. On the plaque at the door of the building were written the 3 characters, Fenghua Building. However, Yi Lin looked to the side and saw that there was no beggar displayed on the panel. Strange, could this be Huang Xiao's destined opportunity? Impossible. If the panel can display it, then it can definitely be plundered. After thinking for a while, Yi Lin walked to the restaurant opposite, sat in the restaurant and looked at the Fenghua Tower opposite. Brother, don't look at it. Fenghua Tower is not something we can afford. At this time, a young man in front of Yi Lin held a wine bottle and said with a sad face. Seeing this, Yi Lin didn't pay any attention to it. Seeing that Yi Lin ignored it, the man knew that he was ignorant, and then curled his lips and walked away. Why is this stinky beggar here again? Get out of here, stinky beggar, can you bear the impact on our business? That's right, if I didn't feel sorry for you, the police would have arrested you in the morning. At this time, Yi Lin was suddenly shocked. He saw an old beggar sitting in front of Fenghua Tower with a long stick in his hand, which made the girls on the side feel disgusted. The old beggar has been here since a month ago. Every time at noon, he will appear in front of Fenghua Tower on time. It's quite unique. Even beggars have dreams these days. At some point, the ignorant young man came to Yi Lin again and said softly. Hearing this, Yi Lin raised his head and looked at the young man in front of him. Suddenly, a transparent panel appeared. Name, Cheng Wai, cultivation, 4th level of Qi training. Fate, black catastrophe is coming. Numerology, none. Destiny, originally a member of the Tianjian sect, but due to being framed, he was eventually arranged by the elders of the Tianjian sect to work as an undercover agent in the Qingyan sect. When he joined the Qingyan sect 3 days later, he was exposed by the elders of the Qingyan sect and was immediately killed by the elders of the Qingyan sect. After beheading, 3 middle-grade spiritual stones were found on his body. Recent opportunities. None. Looking at the face of the person in front of him, Yilin was slightly shocked. Good guy, undercover. Tianjian sect is the second sect within a radius of 10,000 miles, and the first sect is the well-deserved Qingyan sect. The disciples of Tianjian sect came to Qingyan sect to work as undercover agents. Could it be that they want to overthrow Qingyan sect? Yilin's eyes kept flashing with cold light as he thought about the fate of the Qingyan sect disciples. 6 months later, the demons sucked all the essence and blood out of their bodies and died. In addition, half a year later is the day when the Qingyan sect's secret realm will be opened, which means that something big will definitely happen in half a year. The reason why Qingyan sect became the well-deserved overlord within 10,000 miles was because of the secret realm. At this time, Yilin suddenly took action and pressed the head of the young man in front of him on the table, making a huge noise. "Brother, what are you doing?" Cheng Wai, who was pinned down on the table, was angry, but he didn't panic at all and asked calmly. "Don't think that I don't know who you are. Take out the middle-grade spiritual stone on your body and I will spare your life today." Hearing this, Cheng Wai was shocked. How did he know that he had a medium-grade spiritual stone on his body? After he was framed, just before he was demoted from the sect, he sneaked into the elder's residence and stole 3 middle-grade spiritual stones that the elder had collected for 10 years. "My dear friend, who am I? I'm just an ordinary person. As for the spiritual stones, they belong to cultivators and I don't have them." Hearing this, Yilin sneered. "If you still pretend to be ignorant, then you may not survive today, right, Cheng Wai?" After Yilin finished speaking, Cheng Wai knew in his heart that he had been exposed. Then he took out 3 shining crystals from his arms and handed them to Yilin. "It's a wise choice. I advise you not to seek death in Qingyan sect. Some things are not as simple as they seem on the surface." Putting away the spirit stone, Yilin said to Cheng Wai, then let go of Cheng Wai and walked towards Fenghua Tower. Now that he has handed over the spirit stone, he doesn't mind reminding him that if he continues to look for death, it will have nothing to do with him. It's a good deal to buy 1 life with 3 medium-grade spiritual stones. "Young man, give me something to eat. I haven't eaten for 3 days." At this time, the old beggar who was bowing his head suddenly looked up. I don't know when Yilin was standing in front of him. Immediately grabbed Yilin's robe with his dirty hands and begged in a low voice. The originally flawless white robe was ravaged by the old beggar's hands, leaving a black stain. "Young man, don't believe him, he is lying to you. This old beggar begs here every day and has never starved to death." At this time, the woman next to him said to Yilin kindly, "It's okay, old man, there is a restaurant in front. I will treat you today. You can eat as much as you want." After Yilin finished speaking, the old beggar's turbid eyes suddenly lit up. "Really, of course, I won't lie to you," Yilin said with a smile. "Thank you, young man, thank you." After the old beggar finished speaking, he immediately stood up and ran towards the restaurant. When he came to the table, he slapped the wooden table with his hand. "Bring me all the dishes you have here. This." Seeing this, the little C in the restaurant turned their eyes to Yilin. After Yilin nodded, they immediately went down to prepare. Just now, Yilin suddenly showed his power and put Cheng Wai's head on the table. They knew that the young man in front of them was not simple. He might be a cultivator. Yilin came to sit in front of the old beggar, and did not dislike the inexplicable smell on the old beggar. Name: Huang Tianyi. Cultivation: Late Foundation Building Remnant. Fate: Green Remnant. Numerology: Kendo Champion. Destiny: Originally a casual cultivator in the Foundation building period, but later his family was killed by the enemy. In anger, he went to the door, but the enemy was too powerful, and his cultivation was abolished, becoming a useless person. Under multiple blows, he has never recovered since then and became an old beggar, depressed all day, and eventually died of old age. Recent opportunities: None. Looking at the panel of the person in front of him, Yilin was shocked. He did not expect that he was actually a powerful person in the Foundation building period. Yes, if it was an ordinary person, where would the foundation building demon pill come from? After a while, all kinds of fish and meat were placed in front of the old beggar. Seeing this, the old beggar was not polite at all, and grabbed the meat with his dirty hands and ate it in big mouthfuls. Eating a bite of meat and drinking a sip of wine, it was so enjoyable. After a full half hour, the old beggar looked at the residue on the table and patted his stomach with satisfaction. Not bad, not bad, this is the most full and best time I have eaten, it's so enjoyable. Seeing this, Yi Lin just kept smiling. Young man, you are so young, and you have already practiced the 6th level of Qi training. You must be a disciple of the Qingyan sect, right? At this time, the old beggar suddenly lowered his voice and said to Yi Lin. In response, Yi Lin smiled and nodded. Tianfeng City is very close to the Qingyan sect, so it is not difficult to guess his identity. After what happened just now, I know that you are a good person. In order to repay this meal, you can take these 2 things. Giving them to you will also fulfill my wish. We have a long way to go. The old beggar put a wooden box and an ancient book on the dining table, and then left the restaurant with satisfaction, and no one knew where to go. Yi Lin opened the wooden box, and surprisingly, a round inner pill lay in it, and a quiet fragrance emanated from the air. Yi Lin put away the wooden box, and then turned his eyes to the ancient book beside him, and slowly picked it up, only to see 3 big words written on it, sword controlling technique. Looking at these 3 words, Yi Lin was shocked. Sword controlling technique, could it be the unique skill of Tianjian sect? You know, the sword control technique of Tianjian sect is a low-grade sword technique of the Zan level. If this is really the sword control technique of Tianjian sect, then he has made a lot of money this time. Putting the 2 things in the space ring, Yi Lin stood up. At this time, the previous servant came to Yi Lin tremblingly. Brother, this meal costs 2 taels of silver. Looking at the servant in front of him, Yi Lin nodded, then stretched his hand into his arms, and suddenly his face froze. Spirit stones. He only had 3 medium-grade spirit stones. Silver, no, no money after the meal. Brother, you are not out of money, are you? At this time, the servant looked at Yi Lin with a strange look. At this time, Yi Lin took out the token of the outer sect disciple and placed it in front of the servant. I guarantee as an outer sect disciple of Qingyan sect that I will bring you the money within 1 month. After speaking, Yi Lin put away the token and walked out of the door. Looking at the token and the name on it that Yi Lin had just handed over, the servant fell into deep thought. This restaurant was opened by Qingyan sect. Outer sect disciples can eat in the restaurant for free. He must know that, right? When they arrived in Wangjia village, the villagers really kept their promise and specially sent 2 people to guard the snake head. After speaking to the villagers, Yi Lin grabbed the snake head and went to Qingyan sect. That snake head weighs at least several hundred pounds, not to mention 1,000 pounds. The immortal master is indeed worthy of being called an immortal master. The villagers were full of admiration as they watched Yi Lin holding the snake head and walking at a high speed with ease. The blood in the snake head, which had been placed for several hours, had already dried up. Even so, it still looked extremely creepy. After arriving at Qingyan sect, Yi Lin went straight to the mission pavilion. He was in a hurry now. After submitting the task, he needed to quickly verify the authenticity of the sword controlling technique. If it was true, it would be a big profit. When he arrived at the mission pavilion, Yi Lin threw the snake head to the door and then walked into the mission pavilion. Could this be the 5th level Qi training demon snake in Wangjia village at the foot of the mountain? That's right, the one who came in just now seems to be the newly promoted outer disciple, right? I heard that he seems to be at the 4th level of Qi training. I'm going to kill the 5th level demon snake with the 4th level Qi training cultivation level. Even if this demonic snake is at the 5th level Qi training level, it's still the best. It's so awesome. The surrounding outer disciples looked at the huge snake head and exclaimed that no one would dare to take on this task if they were to fight alone without the 6th level of Qi training. And on the 6th level of Qi training, how many people are there in the outer sect? Just a dozen or 20 people. Brother, I have completed the mission. At this time, Yi Lin said to the sleepy Huang Xiao in front. After saying that, Huang Xiao suddenly stood up and stared at Yi Lin. Are you sure? Where is the snakehead? After Huang Xiao finished speaking, Yi Lin turned around and saw a huge snake head standing at the door, with disciples constantly stopping to comment. This giant python can fight against a monk at the 6th level of Qi training. How did he kill a little monk at the 4th level of Qi training? Could it be? At this time, Huang Xiao suddenly sneered. If his guess was correct, this Yi Lin had a big problem, but it had nothing to do with him. He would also be happy to see Yi Lin get stronger, because his brother was Huang Shang, and he and Zhang Xiao had never dealt with each other, so he didn't look directly at Zhang Xiao. Now if Yi Lin's cultivation level gets stronger, will he be able to do it when the time comes? It's fun to watch. Okay, now that you have completed the task, I have recorded the 300 points. The outer disciple assessment is once a month, and the monthly test is 200 points. You have passed. Listening to Huang Xiao's words, Yi Lin nodded. No wonder the new outer disciples couldn't survive unless they joined one of the 3 major forces. This external examination alone can drive you to death. At this time, Yi Lin noticed that Huang Xiao had another chance to appear, which made him sigh. Name: Huang Xiao. Cultivation: 6th level of Qi training. Fate: White. Numerology: Tianxia Lone Star. Fate: 4 months later, he was ordered to go down the mountain to slay the demon, but the demon sucked all the essence and blood from his body and died. Recent opportunity: feeling bored, he went down the mountain the next day to find excitement in Tianfeng City, and then had fun in Fenghua Tower. On the way up the mountain the next day, he discovered a near-death practice in Yingyu Valley. He immediately killed the demon beast at the 9th level of Qi, and obtained a Zon-level low-grade elixir, the 9-Death Resurrection Grass, from the corpse of the demon beast that had not yet been digested, and kept it as a trump card. Tianxia Lone Star. The closer someone is to you, the more unlucky they will be. People with this fate are doomed to live alone. Looking at Huang Xiao's opportunity, Yi Lin clicked his tongue. It was destined to happen in the future when he would go down the mountain to have fun. He had robbed him of his opportunity, and his luck had compensated him with another opportunity. Something will occur if it belongs to your life, if not, do not push it. 9-Death Resurrection Grass. That's a good thing. Even though Yi Lin has only been in the world of immortality for a short time, he has heard of the reputation of the 9-Death Resurrection Grass, a holy healing medicine that does not need to be refined into a pill. No matter how serious the injury is, I can bring you back. Of course, this healing medicine is only suitable for practitioners below the nascent soul stage. It's time to verify the authenticity of this sword technique. After saying that, Yi Lin walked down the mountain. To practice the sword technique, you must not practice it within the Qingyan sect. Once discovered, the consequences would be disastrous. If you, a disciple of the Qingyan sect, are practicing other sect-suppressing techniques, you will definitely be executed if you are discovered. Coming to an uninhabited land, Yi Lin took out the sword control technique and began to study it carefully. The more he looked down, the more frightened he became. An entire hour passed, and Yi Lin closed the book in his hand, feeling extremely shocked. It is indeed the sword-controlling technique of the Tianjian sect. Yi Lin murmured to himself that the grade of this sword art is definitely at the Zon level, and the only sword control art at the Zon level is the Junzong sword technique of the Tianjian sect. He didn't know how a casual cultivator in the foundation building stage could master Tianjian sect's Zongzong sword technique, but nothing mattered at this moment. After Yi Lin burned the books in his hands, he began to practice. The sword control technique is divided into 3 levels. The first level, sword control, can take the enemy's head from thousands of miles away. The second level is to control the sword. At this level, the sword is a part of one's body. You can kill whatever you want and wherever your thoughts reach. The third level, 10,000 swords returns to the sect, literally means, you can call upon 10,000 swords, but this third level cannot be practiced unless you are in the golden core stage. Because whether it is the Qi training period or the foundation building period, if you want to urge 10,000 swords to return to the sect, you must have spiritual power to keep up. Start practicing. Yi Lin closed his eyes and carefully recalled the various sword techniques in his mind, and his spiritual energy surged crazily throughout his body. Cultivation time is always boring. Under Yi Lin's conscious or unconscious restraint, the 2 days passed by in a hurry, and in the blink of an eye, it was the second night. Ha, chop. This night, in the originally extremely silent night, a loud shout suddenly came, and the next moment, a sword light pierced the darkness. As a big tree more than 10 meters high collapsed in front of him, Yilin nodded with satisfaction. A long sword floated in the air behind him, and sword energy circulated. Now that I have entered the first level, I can control the sword for a short period of time, but my spiritual energy is also consumed extremely quickly. Seeing that the spiritual energy in his dantian began to decline rapidly, a trace of helplessness flashed across Yilin's face. The power of the sword control technique is extremely powerful. Now, he is 100% sure that he can kill a 6th level Qi training monk within 10 meters. Tomorrow is Huang Xiao's opportunity. After taking away Huang Xiao's opportunity, I will practice in seclusion. In less than a month, Zhang Xiao should be released. After absorbing the demon pill and 3 middle-grade spiritual stones, I will definitely be able to break through the 7th level of Qi training. With various methods, I will not be afraid of Zhang Xiao at all. I must quickly improve my cultivation and strive to become an inner disciple before the secret realm of the inner sect opens. When the time comes, I can also go in and hunt for treasures. Yilin murmured to himself that the Qingyan sect's ability to become the overlord of thousands of miles was all due to this so-called secret realm. No one knows what is in the secret realm. Presumably only the senior officials of Qingyan sect can know about it. This secret realm can only be opened once every 10 years. According to outside rumors, there are countless treasures in the secret realm of Qingyan sect, and there are elixirs or spiritual fruits everywhere. Therefore, Yilin was very jealous of this secret realm. There are still about 4 or 5 months before the secret realm opens. If there is a good opportunity, I can definitely break through the 9th level of Qi training. If not, I will reach the 8th level at the lowest level. The 8th level of Qi training is enough. Yilin secretly thought in his heart that the 8th level of Qi training was already the level of cultivation for a few inner disciples. With the help of various means, becoming an inner disciple would not be a big problem. After thinking about everything, Yilin disappeared into the night and headed to Yingyu Valley to seize Huang Xiao's opportunity. Arriving at Yingyu Valley, Yilin lay down in the grass and looked at the open space in front of him. There were no dying monsters. After some opportunities ahead, Yilin was already familiar with the road and began to lie there quietly waiting. About 3 to 5 hours later, Yilin was suddenly shocked. He saw a huge tiger and a giant bear 2 to 3 meters tall appearing in front of him. Roar! At this time, 2 demonic beasts at the 9th level of Qi training suddenly started fighting in Yingyu Valley, and the ground was shaking violently. The giant bear grabbed countless boulders and trees around it and used them as weapons to resist the giant tiger. The whole battle lasted for more than 10 minutes, and Yilin was terrified. No matter which of the 2 monsters, he could not resist it now. After more than 10 minutes, the whole battle ended with the dying giant bear. Looking at the giant bear with its internal organs flowing all over the ground, the giant tiger roared and then turned and left. After the giant tiger left, the dying giant bear roared unwillingly, and finally hit its head on the ground and fainted completely. However, at this time, a golden halo suddenly appeared on the abdomen of the giant bear. 9 Death's Resurrection Grass. At this time, Yilin, who was hiding in the bushes, suddenly jumped out, put his hands together to make a sword finger, and in an instant, a sword light flashed, and the giant bear's head was split in 2. The sharpness of the yellow-grade upper-grade longsword is completely beyond the resistance of the Qi training period monster. Looking at the belly of the giant bear, Yilin reached in, grabbed the 9 Death Resurrection Grass, and took the spiritual grass out of the belly of the giant bear. It's complete, not yet refined. Looking at the complete 9 Death Resurrection Grass in his hand, Yilin was delighted. The one Huang Xiao got on the panel should have been half refined, but the one in his hand was still very complete. There was no loss of medicinal power. Then Yilin put the 9 Death Resurrection Grass into the space ring. Another advantage of the space ring is that the items put in it will not go bad at all. Because the space inside is static, there is no time at all. Even if you put a steamed bun in it, take it out 1,000 years later, and it will look the same as when you put it in. After everything was done, Yilin looked around and then returned to Qingyan sect. After arriving at his residence, Yilin took out the demon pill and 3 middle-grade spiritual stones. After carefully opening the box, a scent of fragrance suddenly entered the nostrils. If you smell it carefully, it is like a girl's body fragrance, which makes you feel energetic. Yi Lin swallowed the demon pill in one gulp without hesitation, and immediately began to use the star power with all his strength. In an instant, a severe pain hit his internal organs. The monks absorbed spiritual energy during their practice. The spiritual energy was extremely gentle. After entering the body, they would only follow the path of the exercise. The demon pill contains crystals from the whole body of the demon beast. This violent force is completely uncontrollable and rushes through the body like a wild beast. Stop! Yi Lin's face turned red and he began to suppress the demon pill with all his strength. He knew that the demon pill would benefit immensely after being absorbed, but he had no idea that the demon pill was extremely violent. No, if this continues, I will be destroyed by this power. At this time, Yi Lin's expression changed. How violent was the power contained in the demon beasts and demon pills in the foundation establishment stage? It was simply not something he could suppress. Seeing that the spiritual energy in his body used to suppress the power of the demon pill was gradually reduced, Yi Lin was anxious. Give it a try. At this time, Yi Lin gritted his teeth and began to absorb the spirit stones in his hands regardless of the consequences. At this time, the two forces began to flow away from Yi Lin's body. 3 hours later, Yi Lin stopped practicing and was sweating profusely. Yi Lin said with lingering fear that for 3 hours, he finally refined the demon pill, and the power of the demon pill flowed through the veins in his body. Then Yi Lin absorbed the spirit stone with all his strength, and the two powers were being rapidly refined and absorbed by him. Cultivation does not count the years. In the blink of an eye, a month passes by. As expected of a middle-grade spiritual stone, it took a whole month to absorb only half of the spiritual energy. Looking at the middle-grade spiritual stone in his hand, Yi Lin was filled with admiration. Not only does the spiritual energy contained in the middle-grade spiritual stones be more pure, but the amount of spiritual energy is also larger. My current strength is much greater than before. If I use the 7-killing fist, I can kill my previous self in 3 moves. Aware of the power within his body, Yi Lin murmured, during the Qi training period, one layer after another, even if the difference is a small one, it is beyond the reach of countless people. Zhang Xiao should be released from seclusion, right? At this time, Yi Lin murmured to himself that he had been practicing for a month. By this time, Zhang Xiao should have been released from seclusion. It's time to see what my fate is. After suppressing the short-term joy, Yi Lin opened his life panel. Name: Yi Lin. Cultivation: 7th level of Qi training. Fate: Black bad luck. Numerology: bad luck, insight and understanding. Destiny: after Zhang Xiao came out of seclusion, he defeated the inner disciples today and became a new inner disciple. After knowing that you had become an outer disciple, he launched a sneak attack on you at the foot of the mountain 3 days later. During the sneak attack, you suffered heavy injuries. At the critical moment, you take out the talisman and fight back. Recent opportunities: none. Additional bad luck. Bad luck, such as falling when walking, being cheated on getting married. Intelligence and enlightenment. The understanding is transcendent, and it is extremely fast to comprehend various exercises. For the same exercise, it takes others 3 months, but you only need a few days. Looking at his own opportunity, Yi Lin fell into deep thought. Zhang Xiao was indeed Lao Yinbi. His current revealed strength was only at the 4th level of Qi training. Unexpectedly, even so, Lao Yinbi still used sneak attacks. 3 days from now, just in time, if I kill you, I can practice with peace of mind and make all preparations to become an inner disciple. After thinking about everything, Yi Lin stood up, patted the dust on his body, and walked out. After practicing for a month, he needed to walk to stretch his shins. As soon as I walked out of the door, I saw several handyman disciples discussing something. Although he was an outer disciple, he still lived in the handyman's place and became a strange flower. Have you heard? Senior brother Zhang Xiao has officially declared war on the inner disciple Niu Bo. The battle is taking place in the outer square. Come and take a look. Look at it, Grandma, the new handyman consul is like a dog. He bullies us every day without doing anything, and squeezes the last bit of strength out of us. Yes, I'm still in pain. Listening to the whispers of several disciples, Yi Lin raised the corners of his mouth and then walked towards the outer gate square. This was his first close encounter with an inner disciple, so he couldn't miss the opportunity. When we arrived at the outer sect square, we were surrounded by countless outer sect disciples. This was the first time in 10 years that the outer disciples challenged the inner disciples, which caused them to come out of seclusion to watch the battle. The resources of the inner sect disciples are not at the same level as those of the outer sect disciples. The daily resource offerings of the inner sect disciples are 10 times that of the outer sect disciples. Not only that, if you become an inner disciple, you can get a chance to take a medicinal bath, and you can also get a free yellow level high-grade martial arts book. If you perform well, you can get the Qingyan sect's Zongzong Kung Fu. If the outer disciples are compared to adopted children, then the inner disciples are biological children. There is a huge gap between the two. On the ring, a man dressed in black stared at the man in front of him with 2 long swords on his back. The two stood on the ring, and the air was filled with thick murderous aura. Junior brother, between these 2 people, who do you want to win? At this time, an outer disciple approached Yilin and said in a mean tone. The fight hasn't started yet, and the outcome is unknown. Although he already knew the result, Yilin still shook his head and said, "Kneel down and kowtow 3 times and then get out of here. I forgive you for this offense." At this time, the man with a long sword on his back spoke up. He was the inner disciple who was challenged, Niu Bo. When an outer disciple challenges an inner disciple, once the inner disciple loses, not only will his identity be deprived, but his resources will also be exploited. Within 5 years, no resources will be distributed. In other words, once an inner disciple fails, he will be dethroned, which makes him full of murderous intent towards the person in front of him. No matter what the result of this battle is, he will become a laughing stock. The first inner disciple to be challenged in 10 years, huh? Of course, I have been preparing for this day for 8 years. Do you know how I have been spending these 8 years? Stop talking nonsense, let's get started. Zhang Xiao didn't want to talk nonsense with the person in front of him. For the inner secret realm, he has made 8 years of efforts, just to enter the secret realm and obtain the sect protecting skills. In the past 8 years, he has made countless preparations. The disciple in front of him is the weakest among the inner disciples, and his cultivation is only the 8th level of Qi training. In the past, there were also disciples of the 8th level of Qi training in the outer sect, but they never dared to challenge the person in front of him. However, others dared not, but he dared. It seems that you have lived enough. After Niu Bo finished speaking, he drew out the 2 swords behind him and slashed at Zhang Xiao. The attack was a killing move. Even if he killed Zhang Xiao now, the sect would not pursue the responsibility. You want to become an inner disciple, you can, but you have to bear the consequences. Let me see how Zhang Xiao's panel looks like first. Standing in the crowd, Yilin said in his heart, and then set his eyes on Zhang Xiao. Suddenly, a transparent panel appeared. Name: Zhang Xiao. Cultivation: 8th level of Qi training. Fate: white something. Fate: hidden spiritual roots. Destiny: it is natural to become an inner disciple. It has not been a few days since he was killed by Yilin using a talisman 3 days later. Recent opportunities: he became an inner disciple and entered the inner mission pavilion for the first time. He accepted the mission in the mission pavilion. When he went down the mountain to Tianfang City to do the mission tomorrow, he found a piece of black gold under the chopping board in the famous blacksmith shop in Sun Moon City. Hidden spiritual roots. On the surface, it is a low-grade spiritual root, but in fact it is a medium-grade spiritual root. Due to various reasons, the spiritual root is suppressed and not obvious. Looking at Zhang Xiao's panel, Yilin sneered in his heart. However, he didn't know what black gold was. Then Yilin turned his head and looked at the outer disciple next to him. Brother, what is black gold? The disciple who was watching the game happily was stunned when he heard this. Then he spoke. Xuanjin is a good thing. It is an important material for forging earth-level spiritual weapons. If it is integrated into a yellow-level weapon, there is a 90% chance that the weapon can be upgraded to Zon level. But this thing is worth 1,000 gold, and you can't touch it in ordinary days. Why are you asking this? Do you have it? Looking at the strange look of this disciple, Yilin waved his hand. Tisk, boring. After saying that, he continued to watch the fight happily. This piece of Xuanjin is a good thing. If you put this piece of Xuanjin into your longsword has a high chance of being upgraded to the lower grade of Zon level. In just a few minutes, the two people on the ring have entered a fierce battle. If there are masters here, they will definitely see Niubo gradually falling behind. Brother, go down, inner disciple, I'm determined. Zhang Xiao knocked Niubo back with a punch, with a face full of disdain. How dare you do this when the outcome is not decided yet? Hearing this, Niubo was furious. As an inner disciple, he was challenged by an outer disciple for the first time in 10 years, which was humiliating, but the person in front of him dared to mock him. This made him furious, and then his attack became more clever, and every move was a killing move, without any reservation. I wonder what this inner disciples panel is like. Name: Niubo. Cultivation: 8th level of Qi training. Fate: White something. Numerology: Kendo champion, a little lucky. Destiny: after being defeated by Zhang Xiao, he could not bear the blow, his Dao heart was broken, and he was in a daze all day in the outer sect. Finally, he went down the mountain 3 months later and was sucked dry by the evil demon and died. Recent opportunities: 3 days later, he went to Longzhu Valley to relax and accidentally found the corpse of a foundation-building monster. He found a foundation-building monster pill from it, but because his Dao heart was broken, he casually discarded the monster pill. Kendo champion. You have a unique understanding of Kendo, and you can always make rapid progress in Kendo. A little lucky. Good luck can often save you from danger. Seeing Niubo's opportunity, Yilin choked. Good guy, this is the first time he has seen someone throw away an opportunity. Get off here. At this time, a roar came from the ring, and Niubo's sword energy surged all over his body, and an extremely strong sword energy rushed towards Zhang Xiao. Even standing under the stage, Yilin could feel the power of this sword energy. Humph, just relying on you, a waste, can you become an inner disciple? It's a shame for the inner disciples, get off here. Body and fist. At this time, Zhang Xiao had completely torn his face with Niubo. With a roar, a huge fist shadow appeared behind Zhang Xiao. Boom! With a loud bang, Niubo's sword energy was immediately dispersed by the fist shadow, and Niubo flew off the ring directly, lying on the ground, his life or death unknown. Seeing this, the outer disciples watching the battle around were in an uproar, and a generation of inner disciples came to an end. Brother Zhang is invincible, Brother Zhang is mighty, Brother Zhang is domineering. At this time, there were bursts of shouting from the crowd, and the rest of the people looked at the disciple with a strange look. Okay, now I am an inner disciple, thank you all for your support, please go back. Looking at the people below, Zhang Xiao waved his hand. Seeing that the winner had been decided, Yilin turned and walked down the mountain. He wanted to rush to Tianfang City now to seize Zhang Xiao's opportunity. After Yilin left, a white-robed figure appeared beside Zhang Xiao. The guy named Yilin just now has been watching the battle. To the end. Zhang Xiao frowned and looked at the disciple beside him and asked. Hearing this, the disciple nodded. Yes, brother, from the beginning of your battle to the end, he has been watching calmly, seemingly without any fear. After listening to the disciple beside him, an intriguing smile appeared on Zhang Xiao's face. Interesting. After Zhang Xiao finished speaking, he thought to himself. Zhang Liang's elder brother is himself. He must know this identity. If it were someone who was at the 4th level of Qi training, he would be panicked and even want to escape from the sect. Instead of watching his fight calmly, he can do this, which means he has his own support. He must have some support, background, or some means. Whether it is background or means, as long as it is tested, there is no threat. Zhang Xiao stood there and muttered to himself. Then he said to the disciple beside him. Tonight, go and try him. If he really has only superficial skills, come back. I want to avenge my brother with my own hands. If he really has any means, report to me immediately. After Zhang Xiao finished speaking, Wu Feng nodded. After Zhang Xiao's back disappeared, Wu Feng sneered. He can be so calm. If he really has any means, he will definitely be able to deal with you. Let me go to die. Bah. After cursing, Wu Feng left the ring. He must test it tonight, but he will just do superficial work. On the other side, Yilin has already started to speed up to Sun Moon City. Sun Moon City is different from Tianfang City. Sun Moon City is a big city that can accommodate 1 million people. You can imagine how huge it is. However, the journey is also very long. After 3 hours of full speed, Yilin arrived outside the city of Sun Moon City. When he arrived outside the city, the guards at the city gate did not stop him. Tianfang City was afraid of the bandits, but they in Sun Moon City were not afraid. Walking into the city, compared to Tianfang City, there are more people in Sun and Moon City, and the sound of hawking on the roadside is endless. What directly crushes Tianfang City is that the environment of Sun and Moon City is clean and tidy. My dear friend, do you know where the largest blacksmith shop is in this city? At this time, Yilin casually grabbed a person next to him and cupped his fists. You must be a foreigner at first glance. Everyone knows about our blacksmith shop in Sun Moon City. No one knows, just walk a mile from here and you'll be there. Following the direction the person pointed, Yilin thanked him and then walked forward along the road. Halfway through, Yilin suddenly stopped and looked at the huge attic in front of him. There was a plaque at the door, which clearly read the 7 characters of Dragon Blacksmith Shop. Yilin raised his feet and walked into it. As soon as he walked in, the temperature around him dropped rapidly. Various weapons were arranged in order in the blacksmith shop, and there were bursts of cold light above them. Master, do you want to buy or build? At this time, a middle-aged man covered in tendon meat came to Yilin and was angry. It's okay, let me take a look first. Boss, your name is quite interesting. Yilin walked into the blacksmith shop, looked at the various weapons, and asked the boss casually. Hi, I came up with this name together with my wife. My wife is also in the blacksmithing business, so we hit it off immediately and chose this name. It's rare for a girl to be a blacksmith. At this time, Yilin's eyes suddenly lit up as he walked deeper, and then he squatted under a table and looked at the dark, palm-sized thing on the corner of the table. There's nothing you can do about it. These days, the only thing that can make money is this industry. Listening to the boss's words, Yilin nodded. In this world, the lives of ordinary people are like ants. They can be crushed to death at will. Most people like to travel with weapons. Boss, how do you sell this thing? Yilin slowly took out the black gold that was used to support the table legs and said to the boss. Sir, this thing is just a stone that I use to prop up the table legs. It's not valuable. If you want it, I can give it to you. After listening to the boss's words, Yilin shook his head. Boss, I won't take your things for nothing. Let's just give you these 3 taels of silver. It can be regarded as my buying this thing from your hands. At this time, Yilin took out 3 taels of silver from his arms and handed it to the boss. Since what happened last time, he has developed the habit of carrying money when he goes out. Sir, you can't do that. This is just a useless stone. Seeing the boss's refusal, Yilin smiled and shook his head. The boss in front of him was just a mortal. He didn't know the value of black gold at all. The more precious the thing, the greater the cause and effect involved. He handed the money to the boss, which was regarded as the end of the cause and effect. Boss, listen to me, take it. Then Yilin put the money on the table and walked out. Look at this, ah. The boss sighed and reluctantly put away the money on the table. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.